Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Death's Curios for our next episode. It's good to see some of you returning from last week already, even in the chat, so hello to all of you. I'm a Hollowtail. I run this delightful Victorian horror game today, and we'll be getting into it very soon. So before we start today, I would like to say next week you'll be seeing the results of your Death's Deal and the final two scenarios that we're playing out in that. So you'll see the ending to our story of our very unlucky person walking through their house late at night. But today we're going to get right on with things very soon. And after the absolute stressful time that was last session for our players, we're going to be moving into something a little less stressful, as they're going to be spending their mornings and planning as to what they're going to do to handle the heist to come. So, one thing I would like to mention today is that the tweet will be in the chat soon. If we hit 20 retweets, you can cause absolute chaos upon this game by unleashing a wild magic surge, which is very interesting to see if that does happen this game. But you'll see the tweet going in there very soon. And I'm going to jump over to a quick trailer of our sponsors before we move into the game. So, thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. And I'll be right back with you in just a moment. Ooh, and it threw back here.
Before we begin today's show, I would like to take some time to remind you about our sponsors. Fantasy Grounds, a virtual tabletop of choice. All of the beautiful maps and roles you see tonight are done using Fantasy Grounds, which you can try for free at fantasygrounds.com. You can also get all of your miniatures from Wayland Games. Go to waylandgames.co.uk and get yourself a huge range of D&D, Warhammer and 40k minis for up to 20% off regular retail price. And Tabletop Loot, who sell incredible dice. Go and check them out at tabletoploot.com.
Now you're making me doubt myself and count screens.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This time it worked how I meant to do it, which was totally intentional. And we're going to go around, we're going to introduce all of our lovely players today, and then we're going to get right on into the action with today's session. So I'm going to move straight over to this side here. I'm getting good at this mirrored thing. To Delilah Berkeley. Welcome back. Tell us a bit about yourself and introduce yourself to us.
All right, so hey guys, as usual, hello. I am Loria Lark, or Lark Loria, and I'll be playing the lovely Miss Delilah Berkeley, Mrs. Delilah Berkeley, very important, as she is not only a Mrs., she is also a lady, the wife of an earl specifically, who is mysteriously vanished. And she is very much a damsel in distress, who is trying to be a bit more proactive with her life. Unfortunately, certain things are not going great, and she is, as usual, the unwitting host of our fellow cast members here. Bar, of course, Miss Tilly, who decided she didn't want to stay. That's fine. Still, yeah, looking forward to this session, looking forward to the auction, I'm looking forward to dying, and maybe we could get a magic surge. And I pass it on to Magdalena.
Maybe.
Ooh, mirrored thing, I'm doing this, yes!
We're learning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Magdalena, speaking of unwitting.
Yes, unwitting, maybe. Yeah, I mean, at least about modern technology, such as, like, grenades and things like that. What? But yeah, I will be playing Magdalena, definitely DeVille. Who is a Dampier, eccentric artist. And that's all. There's nothing else. No war experience or
Yeah, I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, I can't think of anything. She likes art. She's got 4 points in art. That's her best skill.
Yeah, just an innocent old painter, as everybody watching
Yes.
Previous weeks completely knows.
And we saved Cooper.
We did save Cooper. And speaking of saving people, Miss Fairchild, your son is alive.
My son is alive! Okay, now that I've got that out the way, I am Shakespeare. I'm playing Miss Fairchild, who is a mourner, who is very worried about being in a building with a lot of people who, with her son that she's not supposed to have because battle nuns don't have families. and also a monster
Battlemans.
who she really wants to kill. So it's kind of like, this is the situation, and it's also slightly worrying that all she can think about is breakfast. Are we having breakfast now? Where's breakfast? I want breakfast.
Where's the cakes?
So yep, where's the cakes? It's going to be interesting. After the incredible stress of last session, which was so great, just coming down from it, adrenaline, and I will pass it over with mirroring.
Way, good job. So with the power of mirroring, Tilly Griffiths.
Oh, I hope I don't have the power of mirrors, because that's more Delilah's thing than mine. But hello.
Mirrors have power over Delilah. That's
well, we'll see. I'm Humbledore 6. I'm playing Tilly Griffiths, the quite melancholic detective after the events of last session, who is probably going to go through some little bits of regret about what happened. But that's normal. Get over it. Got an auction to plan. We've got work to do. So, super happy to be here, and I'll pass over with the power of mirroring to
good job. Good job.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! Greybeard's Tavern. I will be Dr. Farouk today, and I can pull an arm out if I need to, but that would make typing very hard. And I also have the easiest time mirroring because I just have to point up. So I'm all good. Back to you, Hollowtail.
It is me, Hollowtail, your DM, above you. With the powers of gods in this game. But speaking of the power of God, let's get back to where we were. So last session, our investigators, we'll call them for this session, because they investigated good last session. They managed to find a serial killer by the name of the Blue Cat, somebody who seemed to be kidnapping young noble children and taking them away for them to never be seen again, leaving small blue cats at the scene of the crime. Our detectives tracked them down. They found where this person was and found their lair at a Halloween fair that they were at, which was under a massive dome of glass to protect the environment from the gases outside, as well as to have healthy flowers and not hiccups. But away from my hiccups, we moved on, and they managed to find their way out of a death-trapped lair of the Blue Cat before finding their way into a maze where things very much went south. And the ceiling began to fall after Varuk shot a hole through the glass dome above, which began to quite literally kill many people in there, unfortunately, but did let the air in to let the smoke escape from the dome so they didn't all suffocate. However, the area was on fire after a curse unfortunately led to a torch being smashed on the side of a hedge, leading them to run for their lives through a fire maze with glass falling on them and damaging a few of them significantly. Most of them having to use a devil's unlock in this session. But Detective Tilly and Varuk managed to find their way towards the Blue Cat, spotting them walking away with the noble child, the current heir of a family that Tilly was looking into. And they both rolled underneath a massive shard of glass that came crashing down, unfortunately damaging Varuk horribly, taking off his arm. And Tilly managed to catch up to the killer, injured, with a jaw broken, unfortunately, as she made her way there and confronted the killer. It was a tense showdown, but she managed to save the child, shot the killer, and killed them. The lady in question unidentified to this end and to this moment. After that, they returned to Delilah's home for medical treatment before Tilly went off, but not before giving over her gun to Lucifer Grimoire, who promised to give it back the next morning. Since then, all of you have had a long night nursing your wounds, some of you not entirely in your own minds due to the sedatives and painkillers you've been given. However, aside from this, the night is calm for all of you. There's nothing else that occurs that gives you any trouble, and overall, things are going okay. And it's as morning comes that we will move over to our one resident that isn't in the house of Delilah Berkeley currently, of Tilly Griffiths. It's morning, you hear the carriages outside, you hear the town criers speaking of the disaster that occurred the night before, and you hear a knock at your door.
She'll stand up from her desk. She didn't go to sleep. If she could help it last night, if narcolepsy took her, then that's fine, but she gets up from her
Due
desk.
to your stressful day, it likely did.
Yes. She goes downstairs, probably still wearing the same thing she did, or at least just a thin nightgown and with like a shawl over her, and looks through the peephole.
Outside, you see a familiar figure, one that said they would be coming to you in the morning. Lucifer Grimmel stood outside. He has a small bag in one hand and in the other a paper.
All right, Tilly. Face on. She opens the door.
Open it, and he nods at you. May I come in?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
He says as he steps inside. I brought a few things for breakfast. You
That's,
look like you're quite famished.
Yes. If I wouldn't mind, you wouldn't mind, I just need to go and get dressed, and then I'll be right with you. If you want to just make yourself at home.
Certainly.
Yes.
I'll make my way up and begin. You do what you need to get yourself ready.
Thank you. And she'll go and get a quick wash, get into a proper garb, and come out looking a bit more straightened up. There's powder over this side of her jaw, but it's not covering, because Edwardian Victorian makeup is not very good, and she doesn't want to put lead on her skin, so it's nasty.
It's so beautiful, though, the lead.
But as you get yourself ready, the smells of something cooking do come through, and as you find your way out, you do see there is a full English set up for you on the table.
Making yourself quite at home, literally, then.
Well, I thought it best to cook something proper, and it just so happens that Magdalena has been having an influx of eggs in recent history, so we have eggs.
Should I thank her for them, or?
No, probably best not to. I asked Cooper for the eggs. He gave me them, but seemed nervous about it.
Right, yes. Yes, I'll keep that one hush, and she'll sit down and
Indeed. I don't know how big a fan of eggs she is, but just in case, he says as he sits down as well and neatens himself up, and just slide the paper over as well. The paper for today.
Thank you. And she'll, anything of interest? And she just looks over the front page.
Oh, well, quite a kerfuffle at a Halloween event the previous evening, I believe, but aside from that, not much. Aside from that, it seems there's been some activities in Lower London, not reported in this paper, but nothing else.
What's going on in Lower London?
Just some gang activity, apparently. Robbie Carr being set free, and of course, his boys getting ready for something against the Americans. And apparently, Mickey is missing, the gang leader of the Americans. I wonder where they've got to.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure you do. Yes, right. Well, this reminds me, I need to go and send some post fairly quickly. So, got many things to do today. How was the house when you left? I know you were negotiating something.
Oh, just giving myself a pep talk.
I doubt it.
He smiles a little bit. The house was fine, or it should be.
Could you... I don't know the nature of what's going on with Miss Berkeley, but would perhaps her coming to you for a more extensive talk and perhaps another deal, would that help her?
He sits back and sort of takes a sip of his tea, puts it aside and has a think. Perhaps. There's, of course, the deal that Delilah has already made that is in line with such a thing, though I cannot disclose the information of her contract without her due permission. No. But yes,
just
I could, of course, do something more immediate if they wished it, but they are rather attached.
Which party is attached? Delilah or the... No,
but I believe a bit of both.
Right.
From what I know, Delilah brought that upon herself, and so has an attachment of sorts, a deal of sorts that pre-exists ours.
Right. How do you have a connection to this other party?
Connection? No, not at all. I merely know how to speak their language.
Right.
If you're asking if they're one of my companions or if they're somebody I work with, they are not. I just know if they're sort. It's probably the best way of putting it.
What are their sort?
That would be telling too much, Detective. And I'm sure you can figure that one out yourself if you look into Delilah's case. Have you ever asked Delilah about why that thing is there? About how it came to be?
I'm not entirely sure what it is. I know she's got an issue with something in her house and a strange obsession with mirrors, but I've not really seen anything. The fact that you were talking so strangely to the mirrors makes me wary. And
wary is good.
Quite frankly, there's rather too many supernatural elements wandering around.
Oh, there is. London is a very interesting city.
Yes, well, they've all seemed to have come out in the last, 6 days, and I'm still getting to grips with the fact that Miss DeVille is not entirely human.
If it helps, not all of them. Wait until Christmas time.
Ha ha.
Just kind of cuts up a sausage and eats a bit.
Regardless. Well, speaking of someone you might work with, do you know of a Ted?
Ted? Ted whom? What do they do, exactly?
Ted. What is his name? They... And she hands over the scrap of paper that she got from Miss Delilah about the name.
Yeah, he takes a look at it and looks over the note and the location. Not something I can say I've seen Ted. I've heard of...
They have a strange white suit, lots of watches. They can get us an invitation to this auction.
Oh, come in now, he says, and takes a sip. Takes a rather big gulp of his tea, despite it being very warm.
I lean forward a little bit. Can I try and read what that was?
Yeah, you can try and give me a quick, just a quick forensic science check. Why not? I'll give you that on this.
Oh, okay, sure. +4. 13?
On a 13, you have a look over him, and you can only tell that he has some sort of mild irritation at the talk of watches and white suits.
Is this not a man we should be making, what is the expression, getting into bed with?
I'd suggest you don't, though it's not their sort of thing. I don't believe you'd be at risk at the very least. They aren't so forward in their advances.
No, not that. No.
Perhaps
working together. Oh, they're okay. Right. Well, that wasn't quite the information I was looking for. I meant they're not trustworthy.
No, very much not trustworthy. Though whom is fully trustworthy, I imagine.
You're not.
Right. Right.
I would say to be careful. They can possibly get you those invitations, but if they offer you anything else, say no. You don't want to make deals with them.
Oh, but deals with you.
Right. I mean, what, encroaching on your business, are they?
Very much so, yes. More so than you know.
Are they like you?
No, and yes. But we'll stick with no, I hate them.
Family?
No.
All right. I'll stop trying.
For the best, I think. These things cannot be revealed so easily.
Well, they can, probably, but...
I did have an expression I used recently whilst having a nice travel on a train, actually. He kind of takes a coin out and hands it over to you. It's a very old-looking coin. Here.
Flips it over.
As you do, one of the sides feels very cold and one of them feels very warm. So
That's odd.
We're two sides of the same coin, you could say.
You and Ted?
Me and Ted, he says, with a bit of venom in his voice at that stupid name that he's chose. No offense to any Teds out there in the audience.
Well, I mean, your name is Lucifer. Ted's a little bit less threatening, at least.
Well, yes, but it's a cooler name. It's not Ted.
You chose your name because it's cool.
He just keeps eating. One doesn't choose their name, the name comes to them.
Yes, I'm sure in your case that was very true. Right. What? Should I
finish
show
your
them
breakfast.
this, or should I...
No,
what?
no, do not show them that, no.
No, okay. Is this... am I keeping this? I don't know what to do.
You can keep the coin. Just don't show
All right.
Ted it.
I won't show Ted. Does he have
Don't tell
another
him.
name? If you're very uncomfortable when you say it.
That.
Right,
Can't
right.
do that, that's against the rules.
Well, Ted it is then. There's
Ted it is.
rules. There's rules as well. How deep does this go?
He sort of continues to eat his breakfast and downs the rest of his tea. I think your mail is coming. And at that
Good.
point, you hear a knock on the door.
Yes. Oh.
The paper
Is it
boy
the-
usually is there around this time, very diligent.
Yes, he is remarkably obsessed with timekeeping, so I better go. And she goes.
Yes, I for one don't have anything to do with watches. He says under his breath as you make your way down. And you see the young boy at the front, your mail boy. Your paper boy who kind of looks at you, he's handing a paper out and goes, "Oh, Miss Tilly, good morning."
Good morning, John. How are you?
Doing well, thanks. It's going all right, actually. It's been quite a lot of papers bought today, you see.
Yes.
On account
Well,
of the thing.
yes. And she just sort of delicately sort of shows her. Yes.
Ooh. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean. I didn't realise.
It's all- I won't be needing a paper from you today. However, I do request something from you. If that's all right.
As long as it's not weird, yeah.
No, it's a delivery of letters. I will pay you very well.
Oh, yeah, it's not weird. Yeah, I can do that.
Yes. And she brings out 13 separate letters and then one more substantial, sort of thicker envelope.
That's a
Right.
weighty one, that is.
Yes. Well, it's a report. So this one needs to go to the police station. These ones,
one?
The Metropolitan Police Station, Upland.
All right, yeah. Yeah, I can go to the yard.
And these ones, they will be addressed to prominent families. So be respectful, as always, as you are, John, on their land.
Right,
please.
yeah. I'll do my bestest.
Thank you. And she pulls out 10 shillings and just...
Oh. All right, yeah. I think it's 11, but it's real
Oh.
nice of you.
That's whatever. It doesn't matter. Just make sure it gets done and done quickly. All right?
Will do. He says and takes the letters. After me round though. He shoves them in his mail bag and then gets going. Have a good day, Miss Tilly.
You too, John. Be safe. Be
You
safe.
too.
God, that was exhausting. And she goes back upstairs.
That's fine. You go back upstairs and breakfast is finished.
Right. Well, I think we have a meeting with Ted at some point, so I need to go and see
Right.
the
Well, you
rest.
have a good day. And of course, he says, and he slides across the table the gun. There is your gun as requested.
Yes, thank you.
Unless you feel the need for me to keep it for longer for you.
No. No, if the Lord wanted me to strike me down, he'd just need to make me fall from the stairs again. So, and she takes the gun and puts it away.
Well, you be careful of the Lord, and you be careful in your day. To the best of your ability, of course. You are a detective. I understand you're in trouble most of your time. Well, perhaps take it easier today.
Well, I'm dining with the devil, of course I'm in trouble.
Well, I'll be on my way. I have a few bits of business of my own, but I'm glad to see that you are well. Rest up the jaw and do your best with today. Good luck on your heist, or your whatever it is you're doing.
Thank you for everything.
I've not done much. But we will. It'd be dreadful if your job couldn't be completed. And I must admit that I do rather care for you and you a lot. Despite myself, he says and stands. Have a good day, Miss Griffiths, he says before he gets walking.
And she'll just watch him leave. Right. To the rest. And she begins to get ready to go to the house.
And you do, and meanwhile at the house, morning comes. You wake up. Some of you are still awake, Magdalena. What do you do in the morning before you all meet? We'll go around. And we'll end with the lady of the house. Magdalena, what is it you do in the morning? Or in your previous evening to some extent?
She had a late night and an early morning because she doesn't need that much sleep. She definitely filled in her man Archie on what happened and asked him what happened on his side because he was at the fair too. Like if he saw anything strange. And she probably also she's had a good day. I don't know.
For her.
I mean, for her, it's a pretty good day. She'd probably just enjoy it, have some nice, relaxing time. She might plot different ways she could kill Mickey, but doesn't go through with any of them. And I think the next morning, she might have started doing some sketching because she doesn't have her paints here, but she does enjoy the art. So
that's what you do in your morning. It's quite nice, quite calm. It's quite pleasant for you. And Miss Fairchild, what is it you do?
Miss Fairchild wouldn't have slept too much, kind of a little bit paranoid having Havelock in a house he's not supposed to be in after the chaos that she brought him out into on his first day out in 5 years. So she would probably not sleep over much. But around like 5 a.m. when she's pretty sure most people are asleep, she would sneak like down to the kitchens for a brief second and just like fill up her skirts and then go back to Huck's room and eat. That's pretty much it. Cakes, apples.
I mean, that's a good
just
thing
kind of
to
wait
do.
for him to wake up. Yeah.
Okay, so
Magdalena would have also given her apples to Cooper and Archie, and also just, while on the subject of the fair, asked Archie how he felt about Dracula, because that's a nice topic.
So I think in that case, as you ask that, the previous, sort of late night, he kind of looked at you and simply gone, what is it you mean by that?
Well, you dressed up as him. I know he is very famous vampire, but he's a topic that comes up sometimes. What do you feel about him?
I personally feel that he is a great man, a great vampire, of course, in his own way. I think that he's done many things for vampires over the years, but perhaps shouldn't have given so much away in such a strange way to that Schroker fellow.
Yes, and it was a very interesting book that came out not long
It is.
ago.
Though good, popular, and it means we can dress how we like and walk around, and people don't find it strange.
It's very true. So.
Indeed. Where is that? Why'd you ask, Magdalena?
Oh, you addressed as him last night, and I had reread the book recently, and so I was curious your thoughts.
Understandable, but you seem to say it with something more probing. I've known you for long enough, my dear, he says, and kind of looks at you. There's something more on your mind.
I may have briefly met him once before, while in Romania. Romania is a very small country.
Right.
He seemed like very, very nice person to non-humans.
Kind of just looks at you. Right. And so this is nothing about the rumors that you're Dracula's daughter then?
She was probably taking a sip of something at like maybe some wine. And rumors? I have not heard these rumors. Please.
But some people say, he says, he kind of sits back and swills the wine in his glass, that you came over from Romania to find a new location for your father to stay. They say you went and docked into Whitby, was it? And that you travelled here and bought a house before the plague.
That is people taking the plot of the book Dracula and putting it on me.
But you did say that you arrived from a boat in
I
Whitby.
did. I mean, it's very good port.
Do you not see where these rumors are starting to get
see
some
where
sort of truth?
who's spreading these rumors?
No, birds, mice, bats.
Bats. Oh, I so shitty.
There's some others in the city who believe that you may be a representative of sorts, somebody that would be good for the city's vampiric element. But if you're not the daughter of Dracula, there's no reason to have you meet them, is there? I can keep them away, let you continue your painting. But
Yes,
if you do
I
want
do
something
enjoy
more,
some good painting.
you have the
She's
people.
like, she's so bad at secrets. Why is she so bad at secrets? Well, it is. I do like meeting people lately. I've made so many new friends, and
Oh, I know, they're all so delightfully ripe for the picking.
they are very quaint. They are so small-minded sometimes, but
Except for the one that stinks. There. They give off a
Yes.
strange vibe about themselves.
yes, it
You
is
know.
very. Yes, do not taste them. It is awful.
I'm not planning on it, but thank you. I
just
have plenty of
recommend it.
stocks in the basement.
Good, yes. But yes, I mean, I wouldn't mind meeting these people just out of curiosity. I mean, since
I
they
mean, they've
apparently
been very insistent that they do not
keeping
wish to
tabs
meet an
on you.
extravagant painter who befriends humans. But they would be more than interested in meeting the daughter of somebody as important as old Vlad.
Did you hear that? I think someone is up for breakfast. We should table this for later.
Right. I'll keep it in mind. He sits back and sort of downs the rest of his glass and sets it aside.
Magdalena downs it too, but it's definitely more of a like.
And as you catch his eyes, you can see that knowing look of like, yeah, I've sussed you out. And meanwhile, move over to...
She'll get up to be like, "Is anyone awake?" I swear I heard something. Hopefully, it wasn't a servant. And just
And Varuk, how was your morning?
Probably very bad. He woke up in a strange bed. He obviously didn't perform his ritual before he went to bed. OCD, pain, drugs. Yeah, he probably woke suddenly and Herbert, and then realized he wasn't there, and Herbert wasn't there, and his arm wasn't there, and has probably fallen into a very research mode kind of thing, where he's like calculating, starting to make plans. You know, how is this going to affect my work? The loss of an arm. Will I have to hire a lab assistant? I hate lab assistants.
You think maybe a lab assistant would help, but they may get in the way of your work. You'll probably have to work slower and more carefully with some of your devices, as, of course, they're very delicate, and you're using one arm now, one hand rather than two. It will take longer, but you can definitely still work around it. You'd have to get used to it, of course, as well. It's going to be... You're going to need to, sort of get yourself used to having the one. And perhaps that will make up for it over time. But initially, it's going to be hard.
And once I realize where I am, is my stuff like in a nearby chair or
Yes,
anything?
your stuff is. You've got all your stuff packed neatly on a chair.
Right.
It is all neatly folded, and everything is in there. Your bag is at the side of the chair, very sealed, not tampered with in any way. And everything is left very neat for you. You wake up in a very comfortable and plush bed with very nice sheets and very beautiful quilts, and the light is coming in through the window.
Is it, with a 4 intellect, am I sure I'm at Lady Delilah Berkeley's
Easily.
estate?
You know
Okay.
it is. You've been around the estate
Right.
enough to know this is the estate.
All right. I go to my bag and get out one of my notebooks and a pencil and begin, roughly doing it with one hand, trying to do the buckle on the bag and whatnot, and then I begin to take notes. I'm working from here, even though I'm completely whacked out of my skull on drugs.
Of course, yes. The painkiller's still running through your system. So you begin to work, and that at least states that need as you begin to set to morning work. And Delilah, finally, what is it you do in the morning? You've had a restful night. There has been no disturbances from the mirrors. Your guests have all been safe and sound.
Okay. Well, before going to bed, honestly, for Dr. Varuk's room, she would have ordered 4 servants to have placed enough candles in case he does wake up in the middle of the night and wants to burn the midnight oil, along with a stack of books for him to read. They're long and complicated. She can't understand them, so that's the start.
You've got a lot of engineering books that have been placed near you.
Yes.
If there's any of them that I haven't read, I would read them.
It's part of Ned's extensive collection.
There are a couple, as it's part of Ned's collection, and he has an immense collection of engineering books. And this literature is from the US. One is from Russia, and it's completely in Russian.
Nice.
Mhm.
All right.
All things I can't read. And as for the mornings, Delilah wakes up quite early because she's one of those does not sleep until late and wakes up super early. Not because she doesn't need to sleep, but because of anxiety and fear and her husband's gone. But this particular morning, she goes into her husband's library and she reads some things, and once the paper arrives to her, her servants pass to her, she has a brief glance at the headlines of the big explosion, and then as she gets it and pauses at the
Do you
gang
read
war
the
stuff.
headline? Do you actually read the headline?
Yes.
Okay, it says 25 dead in disaster of the dome.
Oh.
And under that, there's a part that states, seemingly someone struck terror into the residents of London's upper city as someone struck the inside of the dome, casting it to cascade upon many people. 25 were left dead with 10 injured, both children, women, and nobility.
Oh.
Underneath that, there's a statement from the Scotland Yard where they say, "We are working overtime to find the culprit of whomever shattered this dome above our beautiful gardens in Upper London. This disaster will not be forgotten, and we will trace through all of the ashes in order to find who is this evil villain who would commit such an act."
I quirked the corner of my lip at the idea of Varuk being a villain.
And underneath,
but
the statement
then
seems to have been taken by a detective, Arthur Murray.
does that ring any bells to Delilah?
Have you got law?
No.
Then no.
Wait. Let's see. No.
Then no. It rings no bells.
Okay,
at all.
cool. Yes, but she's also been studying, by the way. She's looking through the royal houses of Romania. speaking of specifically the lineage of the Princess Magdalena from several, 100 years ago, and seeing who her father was. Perhaps any connections to Vlad the Impaler.
Vladislav
Someone's
Dracul
doing
III.
her
Yeah,
homework.
Vladislav Dracul
Yeah.
Vladislav Dracul III.
is who you fight.
Yeah, she's
Magdalena,
holding that book.
Magdalena.
Still, yeah, she holds the book in her hand, like kind of like
There's a
but
portrait
as
of
she gets
Magdalena in there.
yeah, I know. She looks at it. She kind of quirks her lips again and be like,
It looks like them at least, but they're like it's sort of like a drawing of a painting that they had that they've printed on this, and it's like of somebody
Yes,
on a
but-
with like a sword held in one hand and like a decapitated head in the other as they're shouting to the heavens, and that's
yes,
the.
but I also
Does
have
the
another
sword
painting
look
of Magdalena
familiar?
as well.
Does this all look
So she's just like, has this book, and her paper's in one hand. As she sees the whole gang thing, she kind of like freezes and just makes a beeline for I forgot his name. Goodness gracious, this is the guy that ruined my life.
Mickey.
Mickey, there we go. The name of the man who ruined my life. There we go. Let's go for him.
Yes,
She just like
you go and find
storms
Mickey.
for him.
So you storm over for Mickey, and you find the suite that you placed him in, and you open the door or do you knock?
I don't. I just kind of burst in. I know he's awake. He wakes up really early because he's a psychopath.
Yeah, he's awake. He kind of sat on his bed. He's got his trousers on. He ain't got a shirt on right now, and he's kind of cleaning a gun.
She was gonna fling it down him quite rudely, but then she sees the fact he's half naked, just blushes immediately.
and
Just waits,
then pulls
like,
on a shirt.
that serves me right. Goodness. I was going to throw it. Oh goodness.
So, I mean, still, if it helps, you can go back out and you can come back in and throw it at me if that helps. You can redo the whole thing.
The moment of drama has passed, Mickey. She very awkwardly places it on his lap instead.
All right. Okay. What's this about? Is this some sort
Look.
of? Oh, this is what happened last night, isn't it?
Yes, but that's not important. Look at this.
There's a lot of people dead in high London. 10 injured
This, I know.
children.
But this! Mickey! Do you see the part in which the upper class city has said something about, I don't know, your favorite man in this entire world?
Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, this bit. Yeah, I can see it. He kind of looks through. Yada, 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 yeah. Yeah, lower London gangs. Man out to get it. Yeah, that sounds about right. Well, just get
The
happening.
newspapers have noticed they're doing something. What are you going to do about it?
Well, I was
Do you
thinking
think
today.
I'm in contact with any of you?
I mean, I was thinking I was going to contact a couple of the boys, see what I could do, but I mean, I've been hiding, so it's they're holding up, they're holding off enough. Don't worry about it, they'll be fine, Delilah. They look, put it this way, right? They hide away. They let the Brits think they're winning, and then we hit them hard. That's how it works. That's what we did before. That's what we'll do again. They've taken over what? He kind of looks at the paper. One of the other territories, we got another 8. In other
I'm
words,
worried about the other boys, Mickey.
not much worried about.
You know we're some. You know we've been friends, all of us.
Yeah, of course. We're friends. So are the rest out there. Here, Ricky's doing well for himself. Apparently he's shacked up with some Romanian chick. Good on him, you know?
He spoke to you afterwards?
Yeah, came to visit.
She looks a bit confused for a moment, but then responds, okay, I see. Alright. Well, that's good to know.
You're right, though.
That's
Your
a
foot's
great
looking
relief.
in pain. You got enough
Oh.
painkillers for that, or?
No, I have this crutch. I hobbled. It was very dramatic. She kind of looks, she looked at the
kind of
crutch that
starts
she
to laugh
had.
a little bit and stops it and just kind of goes, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. That's real cruel to me.
It's alright.
It's just, you said it in an amusing way, but yeah, that's fine. Yeah, no, thank you for letting me know, Delilah. I'll keep an eye out, but I'll see how the boys are doing soon. I'll be out of your hair in no time at all.
It's not that. I don't like worrying about you, but this is when the media catches something like this. That's not something Good.
No.
I hope you know what you're doing, Mickey.
I always know what I'm doing, Delilah. I've thought about it. I'm 3 steps ahead of them all. It's fine. I'm telling you. It's okay. I'll be all right. I'm recovering nice and easy. My ear don't look right, but it's good enough. I'll just put a hat on and tilt it slightly, start a new style. And aside from that, I'll be back on the streets in no time. We'll get our things back. Did you see the guy about the tickets for the auction?
Not yet. Yesterday's events were quite time-consuming.
Tragic.
We'll be doing something today.
Do you know who shot him?
Yes.
I mean, that's pretty bad. I mean, you know, I've whacked some people in my time, but that is, that's something else.
She gives him she gives him a very sweet smile and goes over and kind of wags her finger close and like tilts his face
He
up towards
almost
her very sweetly.
immediately goes over to you as you beckon.
And then she kind of like, you know, with the tip of her finger, like holds up her chin, smiles very sweetly. And, you'd have to pay to know, sweetie. And then let him go.
I mean, I have money. He says and kind of has a bit of a smoke and then gives you you have a good day, Delilah. Be safe. Don't go shattering any more glass ceilings and stuff, you know?
But that's what women are supposed to do. She gives him a little smile.
Yeah, so I've already...
And then takes her leave.
And you do.
Not as gracefully as she'd like.
You can't turn gracefully and then hobble clack, hobble clack, hobble clack.
Pretty much. She goes and gets like, she tells her chef to prepare a full like English for everybody, including lots of sweets for Miss Fairchild. She's assuming that Miss Fairchild likes sweets and isn't just a glutton for everything.
That would be soon disproved if she saw Miss Fairchild eat.
Yeah, no, she's
gone is any pretense of manners. She is just filling
getting everything. By the way, she still has a book in one hand. She's armed with like something. She has breakfast table conversation that she is preparing.
Okay, so you get your novels of table conversation prepared as you make your way downstairs. And for the rest of you, you smell food coming through. You are each woken up for your breakfast, and it's about the time that each of you begin to make your way down that there is a knock at the door, and it is opened as one of your servants lets in Miss Tilly Griffiths.
Ah. Miss Tilly, how good of you to join us. Would you care for some breakfast? You are also very quiet.
Yes, still used to the jaw.
Yes, of course.
I am okay for nourishment. I've eaten this morning, but thank you. I was hoping I could talk to you very, very briefly before breakfast.
Naturally. Privately, or she kind of gestures to the rest of them all sitting down now.
Miss Fairchild is already eating.
In private.
It's unsettling.
Like 2 sausages, like a full melon.
Like, it's literally just like... It's Gollum.
Well,
it's not pretty.
Oh my god, you're Gollum this.
Yeah.
We can speak in the music room. It's got good acoustics and very good soundproofing. She smiles and like kind of like hobble leads her way over.
You hobble lead your way over to your parlor, your music room, where there is a harp set up, a piano, and a viol, and you make your way in and close the doors.
I very quickly pop myself onto the piano seat. I'm like, piano bench, thank God. And then I kind of look at her. Yes.
How are you faring after yesterday?
I thought I would be more shocked. I thought I would be more horrified by seeing all the death. If I am honest.
Sometimes it can take time before these things kick in. It's natural for the brain to dim the details.
And what about you, Miss Tilly? Are you all right? I know I've met a lot of... I don't know if it's your first time apprehending a criminal in such a way, but I knew a couple of boys back in the day with the first kill. It wasn't easy on them.
It is not the first time I've wielded a gun, nor is it the first time I've used force against someone else. So,
Alright.
It's not something I do lightly, but it is sometimes a necessary step.
Yes. Well, you are, after all, a qualified officer. I trust you in your judgment. And I trust that if you ever did feel bad, you'd seek help.
Yes, yes. Regardless, I had a very interesting chat with Mr. Grimoire recently.
Her eyes spark up at the idea of saying, she said, I had an interesting chat with Mr. Grimoire and she smells of breakfast. She's like, oh, really?
Yes, you actually came up in conversation. I'm rather worried about you, Delilah. Miss Berkeley.
Oh. I am suddenly less excited for whatever this was. I was hoping for something different. Miss Tilly, if I'm fully honest.
Well, I'm sorry to let you down, but, your mirrors.
My mirrors? She just gives a very forced smile. Yes, what about them? Lovely, aren't they? Too bad they're covered because cleaning.
Miss Delilah,
Wow.
I am working on the case for you. In
Yes.
regards to... And she she flicks her eyes to where Nikki's probably staying.
Yes, I've discovered some quite troubling news about putting them away. But she kind of holds her head as if like, oh, I have a bit of a headache already.
We should discuss that later.
Mm.
I don't know the full details, but I got the impression that there was another party interfering in your life, and the mirrors are something to do with it.
Delilah was like just casually fanning herself as this happens. She's kind of like still looks at you and just I have no idea what you're talking about. Gently goes down and pick up her fan and just like kind of like puts it back in her hands like,
You might not trust me enough to reveal those things, although something that might be interesting to you is that I overheard Mr. Grimoire speaking to the mirrors last night. He asked them to give you a break.
That's why I slept last night. That is good. I suppose I owe him my debt of gratitude.
No. But I would say if you aren't getting enough rest, maybe you should go and talk to him again. I suspect your mirror issue, it might be a little bit out of my expertise.
You don't think I'm mad, then? You do think there's something about the mirrors? She kind of looks, like, very hopeful.
I have not witnessed, besides the strange moving of fabrics near them, I've not noticed anything myself. However, you're in sound mind, and there are elements of the supernatural that have cropped up in the last week.
And it's as you say that suddenly the piano keys behind you, Delilah, begin to play a song.
I suppose he meant cease for the night. Oh no. Miss Tilly, I advise you leave the music room now. It's time to practice. She looks very, very afraid.
Are you sure you don't want me to stay with you?
It seems we have an audience teacher. She stands.
The song continues. It's a very sort of jaunty song. It begins to play a bit more dramatically, and you hear some of the other instruments in the room begin to sort of scratch and play as they begin to play some opera.
Okay. Right.
And can you give me a performance check, please?
You just made me so happy.
All right, performance. Let's do this. I'm supposed to be good at it, so let's hope. Oh, that's a +5, not a +4. Come on. There we go. That's a 19.
You're muted,
I cannot hear you.
Over the sound of music.
You begin to sing, and it is a good song. You perform it, beautifully. And by the end of it, all of the instruments gently sort of slide back to where they were slightly, all in unison. And the piano stops to play. And you hear a click of the door lock on the other side open.
Thank goodness. Thank you, Miss Tilly.
Truly,
She kind of like nods at the covered mirror in the room, teacher. And she
your
looks
voice
at
is
Tilly.
so wonderful, Miss Berkeley. I'm very sorry it's forced. You're forced to use it rather than, well, wanting to.
There was a time singing brought me joy. Come, the rest are eating, and I do have something to speak about. So she gives her a little she kind of links arms with her like the way that ladies do as they walk out.
I hope you don't mind if I take Miss Fairchild aside before we have a chat. I just needed to ask her something.
Absolutely, that is perfectly fine. You may use the music room if you wish. It'll be safe now.
Thank you. Come,
I do
we
have
must
something I wish to
breakfast.
speak to Magdalena myself. She gives a little sly smile and kind of, gives her little book, The History of Romanian Families, a little tap.
Ah, right. Before you do that, I'd suggest you go to the doctor and apply some colloquial silver to your neck.
We're already at breakfast. She kind of gestures to the table of people already.
Yeah, the breakfast is sitting. Miss Fairchild has probably already had 3 servings by this point.
On her
Yeah,
fourth.
my chef's probably very happy.
On her fourth at the minute. The chef is very pleased. The sort of portly man is stood at the side, arms crossed, just smiling that somebody's eating all this food with such gusto.
That's the happiest I've ever seen him. He's always been dour since he immigrated over to England. So pleased.
Exactly. So he's very pleased. And more and more food is brought to the table. You are not put out by the amount, Miss Fairchild. The others arrive back. And the rest of you, of course, what were you doing at breakfast while the two of them went off for their discussion? Is there anything that any of you wished to do whilst it was, of course, Farouk, Fairchild, Magdalena, and the children?
Magdalena and Archibald, I think, are that disgustingly cute couple that are like, oh, have a bite of this, and they
Oh,
they're
You
that.
must
That's
try
what
the
they're
orange.
doing. Oh, yeah, basically, they're that, and Magdalena makes sure Cooper's eating enough because he's a growing boy. So she's like,
Yeah, he's eating a bit.
you're so thin.
Oh, it's so spicy though. It's got salt on it.
Yes, it's called seasoning. You want it. You don't want bland food.
Mm.
You'll get
What?
used to it.
All right, Miss Magdalena.
We'll
Oh,
move up into pepper next.
I've got a few things to tell you as well, by the way.
Oh,
So a couple of the eggs will be gone. I sold them.
two.
I'm not going to be angry.
Who did you sell them to?
Mr. Grimore.
Cooper. Oh, well, that is fine then. He is fine.
That's fine.
Why are the only person who doesn't trust this person?
He's great. What are you talking about?
That's good to hear.
Yeah,
was
no,
just
Mr.
worried
Grimore is very nice, man. He
I paid £1 for every egg, and that's good. I don't know what the going rate is on eggs. I don't
That's
really
very
see
good.
them anywhere.
we'll say £1 an egg is about a typical.
Pound an egg is good, yeah.
They are scarce currently. And I kind of lean over to Archie and I'm like, is a pound an egg good? I don't know. This currency here
It
is
is.
not
Daylight.
so
robbery.
new. Okay. Good.
Try the grapes.
Oh.
And yeah, so they continue to be acute with each other at the table, sat rather close, more than they should be at this sort of a table.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of chatting, and there's little touches and feeding and drinking. And they're all in their own
Gross.
little bubble of affection, as the rest of you are sat at the table eating normally across from them.
Oh, Miss Fairchild is not eating normally. She's Gollum. She's
Oh
Gollum.
no, you're like fistfuls into the beans right now.
Yeah. She will occasionally stop to like check that Havelock has food on his plate and he's eating, and weirdly
Yeah.
she will correct if he's holding his knife and fork incorrectly. She's like, no, no.
He is, and you correct
And then
him.
she
He
will
kinda
go
looks
back
at
to
you.
stuffing her face.
Yeah, he looks at you like eating with your hands at some points, and he's like, and then just keeps on eating anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure my kid's probably just staring like slack-jawed at her.
He's not eating. He's that like shocked at this. The small, sort of very young child of Delilah Berkeley, the Lord Berkeley, sat in the chair, just like looking at his like 3 or 4 different sets of knives and forks and spoons and different implements. And aside from that,
If Miss Fairchild noticed him staring, she'd kind of pause and then just go, I believe you used from the outside in. And then go back to stuffing her face because
yes,
she's confused about
very
his
much
setting.
know that. I'm more interested in your tactic of the no side in.
Well, it is a bit more efficient.
Saves dishwashing. And then she'll just go back
Oh.
to stuffing her face.
Right. Oh, that makes sense, he says, and he starts using his hands. And
People would
at
probably
that
notice
time-
Magdalena's pretty much just using her knife because cutlery wasn't a big thing until the 17th century. So she's probably just using her knife for most of it.
Yeah.
Is
So
Dr. Baruch the only one with
speaking-
table manners? Is this it?
Havelock has table manners.
Oh yeah, it's a horrible show because the doctor now only has one hand, and as he's trying to like cut sausages and whatnot, they're slipping around. So eventually he like flips the fork over, stabs it, grabs the fork with his teeth, and then cuts, and then stabs the next piece, and then cuts the sausage all up like strangely, and then starts eating one-handed. And anything else that is suddenly a left-handed impediment, he immediately comes up with some new way,
New
more
ways of dealing with it.
to try to do it. Like buttering toast, he jams it in under the edge of the plate so it's held, and then butters it. That sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
you're a genius, so you find some good ways to deal with things with quick demeanor. And about that time is when Delilah and Tilly would arrive back at the breakfast table.
I
And
look
there is
appalled.
quite the spread in front of you. And you see Teddy is sort of like hand deep, picked up a sausage with his hand and is just like eating it.
I glance over at my son and shoot him a look.
He's like dipping it in beans and then looks at you.
Good morning, everyone.
Trying some
Indeed.
advice from Miss Fairchild.
Right.
Miss Fairchild does not look at anyone.
Yeah, Miss
Just
Fairchild
like-
currently is like face deep in food still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's hearing all this. She's not looking at anyone. She's denying it's happening.
Yeah. She kind of glances at Miss Fairchild and looks at Teddy. Is like, just this once, all right? Daddy's not here right now, so you can't do this. Just once.
When is he coming back from holiday? It's
As
been away a
soon as-
while.
As soon as he can, baby. She kind of gives him a little kiss. It's okay. Now, Miss Fairchild, I believe Miss Tilly Griffiths was to speak with you.
Only after she's finished breakfast.
Of course, of course. While we're at it, Dr. Baruch, how did you enjoy the books I've left by your bedside? You seem
Yes.
better than
Very-
yesterday, of course.
Good choices, very good. I appreciate those works that I've not had a chance to read yet. So I Dankeschön. And he does a bow, and again, one arm missing. it seems awkward with the lack of an arm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she smiles and nods and begins to like very daintily cut her things, because she has to have etiquette. Still, she's like, oh, on the subject of books, I've been reading the most interesting books recently.
Oh no. Right. I'm going to use the restroom. I'm not dealing with this. Very sorry. Is it just round there? Thank you.
She kind of like
Tilly will-
smiles very sweetly at Dr. Baruch. Have you ever read the book Dracula?
So,
And that's the last thing you hear as you leave, Tilly. What is it you're doing? Where are you going?
I'm going to the restroom. I don't want to deal with that right now.
So you just go away for a time. You can re-arrive whenever you wish. But the rest of you,
Yeah, I catch Magdalena's cough and I turn and smile. Oh, I see you already read the book. What do you think of it?
I'm sorry, dear.
We read it together, didn't we?
We did. Very recently.
Ah.
It's
Very
very interesting book.
boys, yes.
Yes, absolutely. I didn't really take much interest in it, but Ned read it for me too. I really enjoyed it. You know, I heard it was based off of an actual Romanian nobility. What was it?
Really?
Yes.
That one I read. I read that one,
Yes.
but that fiction.
Yes,
Who has time for fiction?
indeed.
I quite
indeed.
enjoy fiction, actually.
Yeah, something about Vlad the Impale. Was it the Inhaler? Or the
Maybe. It is historical fiction. I mean, really.
Yeah.
As I
What-
do enjoy some good historical fiction from time to time.
Yes, it's said that Vlad had a particular liking of drinking blood from skulls. What do you think? What do you think of that, Magdalena?
Well, I believe Vlad the Impaler. I believe he was ruler of my home country.
Yes.
back.
Yeah, someone from Romania. I'm sure you're quite studied in it. What was he like?
The
story.
books say that he was very fierce and strong and tall and very good at war.
Yes, I'm sure. What do you
Really
think
good mind.
Is he admirable then, would you say? Someone worthy of respect?
Oh well, if you did not respect the leader of Romania, you die. So
Oh, that is true. I imagine you would definitely know this. After all, he is your father.
What?
Oh, so how did everyone
Head just
sleep?
lifts up out of a pile of mashed potato, like what?
So could you give me a very quick etiquette check, please, Delilah? And same with you, Magdalena. Give me acting, if you get acting.
Oh well,
I can act.
I have neither
etiquette?
acting nor etiquette.
Just roll me a
I thought
basic.
I-
Can I make a will roll to stop
Oh, wait,
eating?
no,
I
I do have
imagine she
etiquette.
is getting
I have
full.
etiquette.
You are getting full by this point, yes.
I have etiquette. Would you like me to roll etiquette?
Yes,
Have
roll me an
acting.
etiquette.
Okay.
Try and what? No.
What?
Do you wish to re-roll, Delilah?
Yes.
Do you wish to re-roll if this succeeds, Magdalena?
Probably. Oh shit.
Oh.
We all gonna know your secret.
Yeah. That's my secret. It's one of my impediments. I can't have y'all find out. So yeah, I'll re-roll.
Is Delilah the last one you didn't know?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
so unfortunately,
like there's like really two people who know.
And
so
then the
unfortunately,
doctor.
Magdalena's like, no. Her hand sweeps out, and all of the cutlery just flies across the room.
And the
I
doctor
gotta look at the cutler that flew. Dodge
The
it,
doctor
yeah.
corrects at one point. He's like, but the country was Wallachia at that time of Vlad the Impaler, and he would have been a
Yes.
hero. He would have been a hero to the locals, and then a horrible villain to the Turks. And then he goes
And
back
I
to eating.
imagine and a hero to his own progeny, I imagine. Absolutely. She nods at Dr. Baruch. That's what I read as
There are
well.
statues of Vlad the Impaler in Romania.
Mm-hmm. As she does this, Delilah still is very
This entire time.
Delilah's still eating very casually as she opens up. Right, yes, opens up to the page of the portrait of Magdalena, along with the details of the princess and how she's related to it, and just slides it over. Just I have another copy of the book, by the way, as well as a painting of you as well, from I forget which period it was. Very lovely. You were in the middle of the battlefield, prancing among the blood and chaos, just like you were yesterday. Very casually.
Since she's so awful. Apparently, I didn't plan on making her this bad at secrets, but she just is. And so I think like a look of nostalgia crosses her face as you mentioned like that battle, and then she's like, "Ugh, "No."
Holding the kitchen knife just up.
like
Just
Unlike
twirling it super nonchalantly. This is, this is so long ago. I would have to be like 449 years old if I was.
Oh, so that's how old you are. That's good to know. Thank you.
If that was me.
I have another book, by the way. She gives you another one. Oh, and this is a picture of the other. Oh, and this is another article about the replica of your sword. You know, 1, 2, 3.
Yes, it's
just like
definitely
evidence,
heirloom.
evidence.
They have the receipt.
I was,
What are you going to do with that?
Sips.
Named after Magdalena Dracul.
Yes, and the previous Magdalena liked to paint human faces on cats as well.
It's
Was it
just
a
the
rebellious
crunch of
table?
bacon from the side of the table. Like,
The entire table dies, and all you hear is. John starts eating some really crunchy bacon.
I'm just.
And when you arrive
I'm gonna go for Cooper. I'm gonna be like, Cooper, I need you to go clean your face like you
But it's-
human little boys do after breakfast. And I would very much appreciate it if you didn't think about this breakfast ever again. And I'm gonna kind of.
So those of you at people then, you see Magdalena look at him and her eyes sort of widen. And he kind of goes, I don't know if I'll do that now. And then just
Thank
leaves.
you, Cooper.
Interesting.
Help him. She kind of looks at her son. Help him go find a wash basin for him.
Okay. He says and starts running off as well.
Good boy.
Not really understanding what's going on, so.
Pretty much. She's still drinking her
She's like, I
tea.
gotta
Very
keep-
calm.
I like the idea that
Somebody-
Havelock's just sat next to me, just like carefully cutting up his breakfast and eating it, just like.
And Magdalena will wait till the door closes behind Cooper, and then she's like, "Stupid printing press at 1508." It's just
And Tilly, what do you do? You've been gone a while. Do you arrive back yet?
Cooper walks past.
I think I would poke my head in just to see if Miss Fairchild has finished eating.
Never.
Sounds like she's like picking things off the plate to
She's
eat
slowed.
instead of burying her face. It's one-handed now instead of like using her broken hand to shovel things towards her.
Miss Fairchild, would you be willing to come with me for a small chat?
Of course. And she will get up and just like put her hand on Havelock's shoulder and be like, "Stay here.
Actually,
Ignore everyone."
and we'll
Havelock, just stand up.
I wouldn't mind Havelock coming with.
Oh, Havelock, come. And we'll just get up and walk over to Miss Tilly.
Yeah, and
Strips off
she'll
his
take.
food, he puts the cutlery to the side, stands up and goes, excuse me. And then we'll walk off with you. Come in, man.
Miss Fairchild will absolutely like grab a couple of cakes and like hand the smallest one to Havelock behind her, but she will still have cake.
Thank you. And you make your way out to the parlor outside.
See to Miss Berkeley, and I go to the music room.
Yeah, the room looks tense.
I give him a nod. I look like a cat on cream with like a little cup of tea in my hand.
Magdalena looks very uncomfortable.
I just give him I told you so look. Like, you should have just head to them. And leaves. And we'll pull out a seat for Miss Fairchild to sit at and Havelock, and sort of pace a little bit in front of them both before turning around.
Miss Fairchild will tell Havelock to stay away from the mirrors, if there are any mirrors in the room. It's just like, no.
There's one big one in the music room. It is covered.
It's absolutely just stay away from the mirror, Havelock.
Okay, Ma.
If it makes you feel better, Miss Fairchild, they have had their due this morning.
Oddly, that does not, but thank you.
Right. I called you both in here because I have an offer for you both.
For both of us.
Yes. Yes. Is it my understanding that you're currently living in Lower London?
No.
Right. Well, I recently came into the possession of a property that I cannot live in, as my own residence would be unoccupied. I need occupants for it. It needs to be kept well. And I was wondering whether you and your ward would be interested in living in such a place. It is safe. It is well stocked with furniture and games and books. It is in Upper London. I was wondering whether you would overtake it for a short time.
Miss Fairchild would just look at her, and there's, when Miss Griffith said your ward, Miss Fairchild would have stepped in front of Havelock, because even that is too close an association, really, for her to admit to. But with Miss Griffith's continuing, Miss Fairchild would not soften, but there's a lack of tension as she kind of understands what Miss Griffiths is trying to offer. And there's a very long silence before she replies.
Go on, you first.
That's quite an offer, Miss Griffiths. I do keep residence in Upper London, and Havelock has a place. But it is not, I fear, quite so secure as it was, given the business we find ourselves in.
I very much understand.
I got that feeling. I do not know what to do, which is a situation I do not often find myself in. It's unsettling.
Yes. I might just say one thing. I've once said about you that I respect you far too much to pry into your private life, and I stand by that. Whatever the association you have with Havelock is none of my business, and I'm not interested in looking into that. The reason for my offer is partially selfish. I have a request of you that is independent of whether you take up on my offer or not.
Miss Fairchild would pause, and then she'd reach back and put her hand on Havelock's shoulder and kind of guide him to stand in front of her and put both hands on his shoulders. I respect you a great deal, Miss Griffiths. Havelock is my son. He is mine in every way possible, except what I imagine is the most fundamental. But he is my life. I'm trusting you with this, as I have trusted you with my life. I hope you understand that.
Undoubtedly.
And she kind of pets Havelock's hair a little.
He
I
smiles.
deeply appreciate your offer and will consider it. I, again, am uncertain what to do to secure a safety I have not questioned for 5 years and now have no faith in.
I do have a safe place of my own that has been untouched. It is not far from the residence I offer.
I would owe you a great deal in that case. More than I can ever hope to repay, in fact.
Well, that is where hopefully you'll take me up on my request. I often forget to eat. And you don't.
No.
My request would be that you remind me at least to eat, or that I share a meal with you every so often. That's all.
Certainly. And Miss Griffiths, I feel it only right to tell you that had you asked without offering, the answer would have been the same.
Wow.
I know what it is like to go hungry. Perhaps that is why I am the way I am. But it is not pleasant, and the consequences are equally unpleasant. I will do my best to aid you in this.
Yes, I just forget. I just forget to eat. That's all.
And I find it difficult to stop. We are something of a matched pair in that.
Quite. Well, I will give you some time to think. I can take you around the residence at any time. There's a couple of things that need seeing to in it, but it will be fit to move in a day or two if you ever desire.
I trust your judgment as much as I have ever trusted anyone's beyond my own. If
That means a
this
lot.
location is safe, and she kind of puts her hand on Havelock's head again, if it is safe, then I will definitely take you up on your kind offer. It's all that matters now.
I will say then to you that the location, the safe house within is safe and untouched, but the house itself, it has been recently, the occupant within has been removed.
Is
I'll
there
be
any
try-
chance of return?
I very much doubt it. Of the,
I'm sorry.
it's all right. It's okay. It's not your fault.
No, but I can still be sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry too.
Thank you, Miss Griffiths.
Very welcome, Miss Fairchild. And I'll give a curtsy. And
And she will curtsy back.
I'll let her have a few minutes, and I'll go back in.
Okay, so eventually you make your way down, but whilst that nice conversation's been going on, let's get back to our living hell over there. So, what's going on with you guys?
Delilah's pleasantly eating her meal and just like chatting, just chatting pleasantly with Dr. Varrock, then occasionally glancing over Magdalena and giving a polite smile. Just waiting, basically.
Magdalena
With her
is
stack of
stewing.
evidence.
She's stewing. Brooding is maybe even the proper term. As this was her secret. No one was supposed to find out, but I don't know. She doesn't know how these stupid humans put together these puzzles. But the only excuse is the printing press. Obviously, that horrid invention came out when she was younger. Gosh, it's just made information so readily available. And it makes her so mad. And being a Dampier, she is prone to fits of passion. So I think after just stewing for a couple of minutes, maybe just like very like chopping with her knife, like on some, probably just some breakfast sausage or something, she just stands up, scoots the chair out. Fine, you want to know? Duh. I am Magdalena Dracul, daughter of Vladislav Dracul III and Princess of Wallachia.
And at that point, Archie takes a glass, pours a little bit of wine in it that you can hear as the silence drips over the room. It's a glug, 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 and then he just kind of... delightful wine, by the way.
And she just gives him... she's got like a dark, stormy, about to go to war, like, let's go to war with the Ottomans expression again. And she just looks at him. We will talk later. None of you can speak about this. She looks at the Varrock and Delilah, and I think there's only two left in the dining room at this point, thankfully.
Yes, they are.
She goes,
The
The
doctor
cook who still stood in the corner,
And the
just
cook.
like looking very confused.
The doctor
Ow.
said,
And she'll look at the cook and say, "And you will not remember any of this," and just tries to
whammy him.
do a
Nice.
check. Which I'll make my will check, so just to make sure I don't like crit fail charming the cook or something.
He would laugh,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
that's easy. So you manage to. He will forget everything he's seen.
See, the price of my silence will be information. The minor cost.
Price? You will be allowed to live.
Oh
Is
my
that
god,
not been
Doctor's got
benevolent
brass
enough?
ones. Holy crap.
I'm just still sipping my tea, like, ooh, that's some hot tea. Enjoying.
I am far
I'm
more
the daughter
benevolent
of
than my
Dracula. I
father.
will blackmail you.
I see. So, all right. However you see this, and he says, we can be partners, or we can be not as friendly.
I, for one, am simply glad you're finally honest with us, Magdalena.
Yes.
You've been hinting for the longest time. I assumed you only wanted your secret to be known.
Hinting? What?
Yes, you've been dropping
I
hints
have
left
been-
and right.
Masterfully.
My dear, please
But
breathe. Look, do we need to kill them?
she takes one breath, like one whole breath.
I'm afraid you won't be able to kill me in my own house, Lord Archie.
Oh, you're
takes
so funny.
No. I have a companion with me at all times. He's always protected me. She kind of just drinks.
Your gumption and general attitude? Is this some sort of metaphorical malarkey?
No,
I don't
he is
wish
both-
if that helps, Mr. Lala. I think it would like you're all very
absolutely. He
I'm
is
being
my mentor, he is my teacher, my angel, and now my tormentor, but above all, he's always protected me.
Right.
I've never been harmed in his presence.
Oh. He looks at Magdalena.
If you wish to kill me outside my house, of course, that would be quite easy.
Well, at least I know where the line is, Mr. Lala. Magdalena. What should we do? Is it needed? I'd rather not do
No.
bloodshed today.
Ugh.
I'd like this house. The upholstery.
I would like to start a war right now, but there's no one to go to war with currently, so England will be mine, just not today. She's gonna
Stage one.
kind of brush herself off and sit down. Scoot
Can
the
I
chair back
enter
in.
at this point?
Yes, you can.
Like,
Do you understand how valuable an ally the humans can be?
Yes, that
Indeed.
delightful food.
we're
Yes,
down to this
we-
conversation.
Yes, so
We
you've
have.
always known this, Tilly. I knew it! She claps in delight.
Of course, from the night of the museum.
Oh, that's quite early
And
on.
the doctor nods and gives a little like bow.
Honestly,
Miss
if it wasn't for the
Fairchild
very
would enter
obvious
at some
hints she's
point
been
with
dropping, I
Havelock
would never
behind
would have
her.
caught on. Oh, goodness.
We'll get more
Mr.
bacon.
Ville, you're looking rather incensed, and I did hear, as I was approaching, should we kill them all? Might I remind you, we're all under the employ of Mr. Grimoire. We're all
Not me.
yes.
Pushes Havelock
I look over
behind.
to Lord Archie. Is it?
He kind of looks at you and smiles. Yes, Tilly.
Yes,
You're not
Well-
included. It's fine. Neither is, of course, the child or Miss Fairchild. That's
lovely. Well, I just say for your the safety of Miss Deville that you should probably not touch us either. If you care about her at all, of course.
Of course, I care about her.
I don't think making death threats to anyone working together is a good idea. We're all smart enough to keep your secret. Yours and Mr. Ville's, of course.
As long as my dear agrees, then I'm more than happy for that. He sips his wine and looks at Magdalena.
Magdalena, you did not win wars on pure rage. There has to be a little thinking behind it.
There was that one time with the Turks that I did win that war on pure rage.
Oh, yes, it's right here, actually. I found it last night. It was a wonderful read.
Miss Berkeley, do not add fuel to the fire.
She smiles very, very she smiles like a little girl at you, looking very excited that she's found something very interesting.
It's fine. I have time.
Yes,
I'll
you
be
have all the
living
time.
under my father's rule at some point, hopefully soon, and then everything will go back to normal.
Well, if you wish, I could give you a secret of my own, and then you could feel better.
Bacon.
Yeah, there's a lot more food on the table now, by the way.
She's
So the
only
cook's
eating
away,
one-handed though, so there's, she's full. She's so full.
And Dr. Varuk is quickly scribbling something in a notebook, and at some point he tears the page and he just slides it over to Archie. And it's a list of the reasons why a doctor would be an amazing ally. Blood, bodies, morgue, laboratory, new,
I think Magdalena glances over and then sees it's written in English and then just takes a second, squinting at it, and then reads it and goes, "Fine, no one dies today."
Very well.
Excellent.
He says, you do give a compelling argument, Doctor.
Behind a piece of bacon,
Yes.
Miss Fairchild just kind of goes,
I did not know you had
such
bodies.
promise.
The bodies? My smile just drops like, what?
Could you perhaps have
Yes,
a
I think
rather
Doctor,
conversation another time?
we could work together, maybe. I think
Maybe.
about it. And she's kind of simmered down now that she's sat down and she's had another just drink and is just remembering to actually breathe more often than regularly, and she's blinked a couple of times.
And the
No.
doctor had no fear during that whole thing. He lived through the wars. He has seen vampires. He's seen otherworldly things, and he's just kind of he's not afraid of his own end.
Now, Miss Berkeley,
As-
since we are so fond of secrets today, yes, why don't you share one yourself?
Oh, I was hoping you'd forget about that. Actually.
No, I do not forget things ever. And that is a very long time for me.
Trust me, it takes a while.
Oh, well, since the secret seems to already be out, she kind of glances over at Miss Fairchild and Miss Griffiths. I'll share one just like yours. My husband's trapped in the mirrors.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
We're on that now.
Right.
Is that what he said? Did he also go out for some cigarettes and never come back?
Miss Fairchild looks at Archie green eye kind of crackling around the glasses she's wearing that I can't find, sorry. And just kind of goes, oh no, it's quite true. He's in a mirror. There's another thing. It's all rather eldritch, quite like yourself. But quite
No,
unsettling.
Eldritch, no, ew, no, that is, no, we burned witches.
It's quite a
Because
new age
eldritch.
term.
Yes, it is.
Can I
Yes,
make
like
a
Call
that.
that
parasite-
witchcraft.
Can you make a
You
what?
may
Sorry?
notice I'm quite younger than you.
Of course, and what were you saying?
Parapsychology roll?
Yes, certainly can. What for?
All right. To understand anything about the mirror and the trapped husband.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Oh yes, by the way, at some point Miss Fairchild just crouches down and explains to Havelock that if he ever finds himself alone in a room with any of these people, barring Miss Griffiths, he should run. Run away and hide. And I will come and kill them. Basically, it's just it's all right. You're quite safe here. I'm here. But if you are alone with any of them, come and find me and my swords.
Oh, he'd be
And
perfect.
well, you have a think, Varuk, but you can't quite think of what it is. Maybe some sort of ghost, some spirit, some manifestation of will, perhaps. But the mirror thing is very peculiar. And
It'll take some more time, but now that we know there's a problem, we can work on it.
Is it ghosts? Do you have
I
a
do not
ghost
know.
problem? We do not have
What is it?
mirrors. Back home, they're not efficient at all.
Attempting to
Yes.
smash the mirror proved rather fruitless.
Covering it does nothing really. It's just helped my mind. She kind of sighs a bit.
Whatever it is, it's rather rude.
Teacher was not always rude, she looks at Miss Fairchild. I used to think of him as my own guardian angel. He taught me how to sing. He protected me.
Can we stop
as
saying
you-
angel?
And as you consider that, Delilah, tell us about when you first met that stranger, that voice. Tell me what happened.
All right. So the first time Delilah ever met her angel, her teacher, her tormentor, as he was now, was one night when she was home alone, when she was 5 years old. Her father, being the single father that he was, had to keep his shop open. He was a tailor, and he had to provide for her, of course. So he stayed very late, and she would be home alone most nights and most days. And she'd cry herself to sleep. But one night, she heard the most beautiful singing. She thought it was an angel, and she followed that amazing voice. And she found it in the one floor-length mirror that their family owned. It was her mother's, that they brought all the way to the New World. It was old and beautiful, and she used to stare at it and dance all the time. And inside that mirror was the most beautiful man she'd ever seen, and he had green eyes like hers. And he sang, and she listened, and he told her stories, and eventually she started talking back. And so he would too. And he became her only friend and her only confidant for all the lonely nights. She told him all her secrets, every little thing that came to her little head. And he'd teach her songs to comfort herself. And he told her that she was a jewel, that she was loved, and he knew the worth that she had, and that was her voice. And he would polish it if she would trust him. And so she did. Every night she'd practice. Every single night. And it so has been since then, I guess. She's never stopped.
And you remember the
Even
many long nights practicing the words of praise, of kindness, of constructive criticism that the man in the mirror gave. The smile that he would have whenever you returned. The way he'd love to listen about your performances, about your trips to the bars and the clubs where you would sing, even when you were with Mickey, speaking of what you had seen and how your evenings was. No matter where you went, no matter what you did, the man in the mirror was always there, waiting and always happy to see you. And then that's the time that you met your husband-to-be. And the singing became less. The talks became less, no longer needing the man in the mirror as much now that Ned was there whenever you returned, whenever you needed him. And the mirror grew dusty and old and ignored. On occasion when you would go back, the man in the mirror was keen to hear about your experiences, your days, your performance, but no practice, no performances had been going, and he seemed hurt by that. And so you ignored it more, until the memory was almost distant. Until Ned went missing. And now you're back in the room. The sausages, the eggs, the delightful sense of the room and those around you with you. The mirrors all covered around the entire room. No Ned.
But I got everyone else. Yay. And she kind of stops. So she's like, you know, he was always there for me. And then she kind of stops and just stares at one of the cupboard mirrors. Anyways. That is my secret, I suppose. I've kept it for fear of people sending me to an asylum. But
Sounds like you have
as
ghost problem.
a ghost? Why would teacher be a ghost?
No,
He's
it makes
never-
much more sense that he's a man
He-
trapped in a mirror.
Yeah. And she'll point to Miss Fairchild. Yeah.
Bacon.
I never considered the possibilities. You see, when I was a child, I'd speak to strange little floating lights. But
When I was
I
a
thought
child, I had
those-
possessed, like, I had small, like, porcelain doll, and it was possessed by ghosts. We need to get rid of it.
When I was a child, I ate rats. We all have a tortured background. Let's move on to the future, shall we?
Yes, so,
absolutely.
You know, the doll killed a few people, and we had to get rid of it. So it sounds like we need to get rid of Mirror.
I just wish for things to be the way they used to be. I just want my husband back.
I wish for that every day, but this is not 15th century. So,
You had a husband?
oh, no, but my mother died of old age when I was very young.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay. She was 83.
Lady Delilah, do you have the original mirror still?
The original.
Yes, the ones that came from the old country.
Well, of course, it was a family heirloom. My mother had it with. She was from Italy, you know. That's why I have more olive complexion. I have her eyes.
Ah, I was trying to smash the wrong one. That makes sense.
And
Oh, you're from.
She kind of.
You have family in Italy.
Yes, my mother was Italian. My father was Austrian. They both eloped and moved to the New World. That's why.
Should I inquire as to your mother's last name? Sorry, I have some relatives. That's all.
I have it there somewhere. Let me find it. Goodness gracious me.
My goodness, aren't you all
And
well
while you're
traveled?
looking for that, Magdalena looks over to Archibald. After the mention of family heirloom, she goes, "My sword broke. Do you have a sword I could borrow until it is fixed?"
Dreadful. Yes, I have some from
I got it for my 300.
a cavalry saber will do, won't it?
It'll do.
Right, I'll get you one as soon as
Not
we
as
go.
good at decapitation, but I'll make
Actually,
do.
they're rather remarkable at decapitation.
You have not used a Romanian Kilish. It
You're
is-
right, I haven't. I'm sure you're correct, my love. He says and nods, but I'll have it delivered immediately.
Thank you.
It's D'Angelo, by the way.
Okay. I don't know whether I recognise that name or not, but
Just learning all the things
Yeah,
about each
very
other
quick.
today, aren't we?
What was your own, Tilly? Your relative's name back in there? In those days?
well, my mother's maiden name.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look that up. Jigora.
And could you give me a very quick... Have you got etiquette? Give me a quick etiquette check, please. Or history, the highest of the two.
I think they're both 3. 17.
Very nice. You hear the name, and your mind does begin to go back to stories that you had listened to before, and goes back to different names that you had heard from your mother, from people before then, and you do recognize the name, actually. The families were quite close. Apparently, at least some of your distant relatives who were around your mother's time were singers, very famous singers. And they had a very good connection and patronage with the D'Angelo family. There was allegedly some affairs there as well, which is why your family ended up leaving. Apparently, one of your great-grandfathers was killed quite horribly for toying around with somebody else's wife.
foolishness.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, right. Yes. How strange. The world is so small. I do know your family. Your mother's side.
Oh,
My own family used to be quite close.
That would be very lovely to speak of on perhaps another day. I know nothing about my mother's family. My father was a nobody, and she was somebody, so I heard.
I can tell you plenty of stories about the Angelos, and maybe a little of my own.
I would be very grateful for that. She gives her like a very grateful and actual, like, genuinely happy smile to hear this.
But rather than secrets, we should really be discussing the auction.
The auction? Yes.
I have it on
Absolutely.
authority that the tickets will be acquiring. The source that they come from might not be trustworthy, Miss Berkeley.
Trustworthy or not, would it get us in?
They will, but I've been advised when we meet this Ted.
Ah, yes. Mickey said something about. Oh, he said to be careful not to tell him too much. Apparently, he likes to know things.
Yes, and I've been warned not to
Doesn't
agree
everybody?
anything
Yes,
other
doesn't
It's-
everyone like to know everything about everyone?
She gives Magdalene a little smile. But when Mickey warns me about somebody and says something bad about them, I tend to listen. He doesn't see the bad in people, usually.
Miss Fairchild is like side-eyeing so hard. Like, really?
Well, regardless,
Really?
this Ted, nobody tell anyone and them anything, and don't agree to anything other than the tickets. Apparently, he will make more offers about many things.
This information came from where exactly?
Uh-oh.
Do you not trust me, Miss Fairchild?
I trust you. But where did the information come from to you?
I gave it to her. I look at Miss Fairchild. Is there a question I should answer you, Miss Fairchild?
No, I simply wanted to know on whose word we were traveling. That's all.
Well,
Would
Have
I
you
get
ever
from the
seen him?
fact that Miss Griffiths was addressing all of us with this, that maybe it didn't come from Miss Berkeley?
You can read into that what you like. That's a very vague
Yeah.
thing to determine. So
Yeah,
that's not
it
like
is.
a check, really, in my eyes.
No, that's fine.
regardless, Miss Fairchild.
She's just suspicious.
Regardless, Miss Fairchild, we've already made one deal, and I think some of us are not as happy with it as they are with others. Making more deals with similar individuals wouldn't be wise anyway, would it?
It's a great deal.
I agree. I dislike deals.
They can be useful.
And the
But they
doctor
always
does
cost far
short-
too much.
The doctor does chortle just a bit when you like say that about despising deals. Like, just to
I
kind
know
of to
nothing,
himself.
no.
Oh, I know, it's beautiful.
Oh, yes, speaking of which, she remembers as she claps her hands together, and then she kind of like, yes, takes a little checkbook from her pockets, rips out the check, and slides it over to Dr. Brooks, like several £100. Like, there you go, this should be sufficient.
Thank you very much. My work shall continue. And he goes to pick it up with two hands and then looks at it, thinks, and then figures out a way to fold it with one hand. And puts it in his coat pocket.
Yes, I had to look through Ned's accounting books to figure that one out. Oh, goodness, math is very hard.
And it's as you're thinking about that we have hit a wild magic surge as we have 20 retweets. So did you please,
Not in my house, guys, no!
Yes,
So
in your
given it's-
house.
given it's your house, can you roll me a D10,000, please? And we'll determine what this effect is, unless it
It has
completely
to
breaks the
salmon
game.
falling from the
We'll figure it out.
sky.
Oh, why is my son always in the room when stuff happens? Jesus.
Help it be translated into something appropriately gothic and interesting for this video. So,
How do you roll a D something? How many?
slash down space 1D 10,000.
Slash DIE,
Die.
Mhm.
Yes, die.
and it's 1
D 10,000, please.
10,000.
1 0 1 2 3. Goodness.
And what did you get, Miss?
I don't like that. I really don't like that.
What did you get?
I can read it out loud.
3070.
3070.
3070.
It's
Yeah,
so
but-
great.
We'll see what it is, and we'll see how to translate that.
I want examiner then.
30s, 70s. So,
My house.
okay, no problem.
Son!
I'm not going to
know,
tell
right?
you what it is. But I assure you, something will happen.
Oh, God!
Chat, thank you so much.
All of your doors, however, do shut.
Teacher? We already practiced. She kind of looks around, like, panicked.
See, ghost problem. Already figured it out. How did it take you so long to realize missing ghosts?
Steps
He's
in
not a-
front of sun.
Yeah, she kind of just looks around, panics, like, Teacher, this is not funny. I have guests over.
And the ghosts, apparently.
The doctor grabs the salt shaker and pockets it.
Okay, no problem. And you do so. But
Miss
what do you-
Fairchild eats more bacon.
You eat more bacon. It's nice bacon. The salt is in your hand. And what about the rest of you? What do you do? The doors are closed.
Just keeping Havelock behind me and, one hand on my hidden sword.
Magdalena pours herself another drink of the wine. She's still angsty, I think. And she'll just kind of pull out her sketchbook because apparently we're going to plan. So she might need to, doodle out a plan. Helps her get her thoughts on the paper.
Ectoplasmic beings can be most troublesome.
That's a
Yeah.
that's a funny word. Does that involve? Is that some sort of Japanese food?
Mm-mm.
And the doctor does chuckle and he says, "No, you're a random spirit. It's possibly what is causing it."
Teacher stays
I
in
think
the
that
mirrors
is
and
new
now-
word for ghost goo. Ghost residue.
That's a good
He's
colloquialism.
no, he's never been goo. He's a solid person. You could.
Does he
when he's-
leave behind goo?
No,
he would be.
he's- No, he is a man. A proper. She kind of looks terrified. Teacher, please.
The doors are shut, but nothing else has happened. Just the
Can
doors.
I
are
see
closed.
anything with my spookum eye as I look around? Is there anything? I don't
Can't see
believe there are any
anything in the
ghosts
room.
in the room.
I'm
And she
going
just kind
to-
of gestures to her weird eye, like, it sees things.
Well, I'll just put on my rubber gauntlet and I'll go and open one of the doors.
Okay, no problem. And as you open the door, Tilly vanishes,
Oops.
and
This is.
you hear a squeaking coming from below the door.
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
I
as,
immediately go and see what it is.
You see a small white rabbit with a very nice, fashionable blue hat.
Oh, good lord. And
The
I
rabbit
will,
can speak.
I will attempt to pick up the rabbit.
Excuse
Oh.
me.
Oh, good lord. And I will put the
Um,
rabbit down.
All right.
As you put the rabbit
apologies.
down, Miss Fairchild
Ghost.
turns to a tree with great branches.
There's ghost.
This has never happened before. Mr. Delilah just kind of like backs up, like.
Well, that's most how do I speak with his teeth?
I just knock on the trunk a little like this is... Oh, alright.
Havelock, do not touch your significant adult person. Do not touch. Stay where
Yes,
you
do
are.
not touch your aunt.
But I have no hands, they're snakes, says Havelock, and his arms are snakes.
I am immediately freaking out. And turning around and just going
The
straight
tree in the
over to him
corner
and being
starts
like,
freaking out. The snakes start freaking out. The rabbit's on the floor.
What?
"Ah."
I'm so very confused. Teacher, please. This is. You don't do this. This is not elegant.
I
Is
think
there,
this
is
is
there a
just
covered mirror
this
in
is
this room?
mild ghost problem.
This has never happened before. No,
And as you say that, you see the noble cat of Magdalena walking across the table.
Oh, no.
What? Magdalena, oh goodness, I look down at myself. What am I?
You seem to be a large egg.
Oh, good lord, what am I?
You're a
You
tree.
tree dumpty?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Have luck.
No.
Keep your
But you're
arms.
a big egg, Delilah, but the top is just a peacock.
What?
You're like a peacock stuffed inside a broken egg.
I'm gonna try to get out of the egg then. I'll be like,
You do, and you peacock everywhere as you feather sort of outwards.
Am I a male peacock?
Yes.
She kind of looks at her plumage like, oh. This is not
I
too
move
bad.
at
I look
all
beautiful.
as a tree.
I
You
just
can't
look
move with a
bored.
tree. That isn't an action you can take. You can take the tree as your action.
What's the doctor look like? I must know
Have
now.
luck. Keep your snake arms away from Miss Griffith, please.
Says the
natural
raccoon.
enemies. Says the raccoon.
Yes, keep away.
I
Says
just
the
look over
What about
at
Archie? What about Archie?
unamused from these ghost
Archibald,
shenanigans. This is like
as
I
you
was
look at
12 all
Archibald, he is a fox, seemingly a grey fox.
Oh, of course he is.
Oh god, I run
Oh,
so
yeah,
far
yeah,
away from
yeah.
him. I'm like out of
He
here.
is a silver fox.
Mhm.
Just as
Yeah.
Magdalena chose. And
That is
My
one of my
eye-rings.
descriptors when I created him. I was like, he's a silver fox.
exactly, he's still fox. He's still fox. He's just he's still sad. Like he's got his like fox paw around the glass and is just sipping his wine still.
Oh my god, he's
What
Mr.
about
Todd
my-
from Peter Rabbit. Oh my
Oh
god.
my goodness, he really is.
my
Where's the
God.
cook, by the way? We got someone asking, and I'm curious too now.
Yeah, the cook is a collection of plates. The
Oh.
plates have eyes.
I'll just call out Cooper. You can
As
come
you
back
call out
now.
Cooper comes in, and he's a person initially, and then you see him shift, and he becomes a rather large chicken.
So for
Is he
me,
golden chicken?
everything might return to normal, is what I'm seeing.
What's happening? Why am I chicken?
You're a chicken, Cooper.
I'm a chicken, Cooper. What's this about? Why am I chicken?
I hop out the door. Do I turn? Do I turn back?
I can't move.
You hop out the door, and as you do, you see Lower London being crushed beneath your paws as you're hopping onto buildings.
Wait. My power fantasies are coming true.
it's like Stitch. Building a little bubble.
No crime if we're all dead.
And it's as you see that and you start to
Also
panic
crush a
because you're
flower.
crushing buildings and people, could you please give me a check on your hysterical blindness, please?
Oh no.
Oh dear.
No, not a blind bug.
Don't be a blind rabbit. Oh my god.
Oh god, do I need to make a check to see if the tree falls in the forest?
Yes, we need to see if the tree has an irritable heart.
Oh my goodness.
15. I think that's fine.
Okay. I can use my.
The question is, will anyone hear it?
Oh good lord. Alright. That meets it.
Yeah.
You have to beat it, but yeah, so you
Okay,
begin
yeah,
to have
so-
issues. As you try and lay
Yeah.
down, but you can't, you retreat.
Yeah. Great. Oh no.
But yes, that
Uh,
happens. And what about you? Did you beat it?
I think so. Yeah, 15.
15? Okay. So you managed to not go blind, luckily. Doctor, what are you doing, Dr. Raccoon?
Well, first, am I a raccoon with 3 limbs or 4?
You just have your legs
All right. All right.
and a tail.
This is most odd. It's I do not know a good test for this. Can I
Ghost.
either parapsychology, psychology, or physical science this to see if maybe it's drugs like alchemy or
You
something?
can roll
trying
on
to-
Raccoon.
Yeah.
All right, I will roll under raccoon. So
You have a 4 in
2d10.
Raccoon. Yeah.
I have a 4. Excellent. I love having 4 in raccoon. Yeah, I'm a master raccoon.
Oh
wow,
my
you really
goodness,
are.
you are a master
So-
raccoon.
it's about the time that you're kicking some sugar cubes into some water to try and clean them that you realize that won't work. That if you put them in that, they melt. But maybe there's not enough cubes in the water, and that's the issue.
I've actually seen that.
The cotton candy. Yeah, poor raccoon.
We're trying to fill the cup then.
Yes, so you just fill the cup until there is enough sugar cubes in it that just drown out the cup, and they all seem clean at that point to you in your raccoon mind. You think you're thinking about something more important, but then again, there's nothing more important than this as you begin to eat. And meanwhile, Havelock still kind of stands behind, going, "My arms are still snakes."
I'm trying to like peacock my way
water.
over to a mirror and trying to like peacock claw my the cloth off. Like, teacher, please stop this. Trying to beak off the cloth. I'm like, please stop this. Flap, flap, panic.
Could you give me a roll on peacock?
Oh no. Is it how do I get any like peacocknesses?
Yeah, you're a peacock, so the rules state that you choose your bonus.
Okay, I'll get a 4 like the
Sure. Gotta be
I'm
modest.
13 at peacock.
Okay.
Why
When you're
you
13
pick,
at
like-
peacock, the tail feathers do seem to have some effect, as you do see a face appear in the mirror, and the voice speaks out to you as it goes, "This is not my doing, but I can see you to your real world. I don't know what interferes with you."
Please, teacher, I don't like being this. And everything is so strange. How do we get here?
He vanishes back into the mirror. And it's soon after that all of you awake. You all found yourselves outside of a warehouse building near the dock district. Doctor, you're currently knelt over a puddle with a sack full of sugar cubes that you're placing one by one in there. Tilly, you are hopping around as you come back, and you see you have crushed what looks to be a small, almost town of toys that have been set up meticulously.
Oh, I feel very bad.
Magdalena, you're currently leaning very precariously on a rail.
Nothing new.
Still. And Delilah, you're currently flapping your skirts about.
Oh goodness! I quickly flap it down like, oh.
Is Archie still there drinking wine?
No, he's not there. You assume he's probably drinking wine in the room still.
God damn it.
It also looks later in the day. It looks like the sun is going down in the distance.
I'm going to lie down
yes.
and then basically just be like, Havelock, come here.
There's no Havelock here.
No,
Oh, dear.
Cooper either. Cooper's a good chicken boy. He will figure it out.
Do I recognize what warehouse we're at?
You do. It's the one you were needing to go to
Can I make a
Oh,
roll
to
to
meet
see if I can
Ted?
stand up?
to meet Ted. And you can stand up. You're fine.
Okay.
Seems fate wanted us to get on with it, I suppose.
I imagine so. How convenient. Whatever
Ugh.
happened there.
Ghosts.
So,
Hope
do we
it doesn't
agree
happen
not to
again.
speak of this?
Ever, yes, very much so.
Yes.
I just left my son in a room with a monster. I don't see how not speaking of this will help
Archibald
that.
will not eat him. I told him not to. And he doesn't operate like that, okay? He doesn't go hunting.
Oh, I apologize. I've only really seen you tear the throat out of one human. I didn't realize how you operated.
You tore the throat.
Also, talking.
Really wish I didn't hear that. Really wish that was not. Was it in
He shot
self-defense,
my ear off
Mr.
with a
Bill?
shotgun. Yes, he
Right,
tore your ear off with a
alright,
shotgun.
That's yeah, okay.
Thankfully, the doctor is very good at medicine, and it's back now.
Mhm. And
Right.
Do we really need to keep up the sparks?
as your doctor, I would recommend that you do talk about this. Packing all of that down would just cause you problems later, give you anxiety, PTSD, and it's just we'll talk later.
What's a PTSD?
I
I
just
have
brood
no
sometimes,
idea.
and that usually fixes it. But Magdalene also has inspiration for a new
Get
painting.
from having too many partners.
What?
No, it's not. That is. We will talk about that too.
Disease? Oh yes, something
Yes.
you will get. Mm-hmm.
While they're having that
Sounds
conversation,
like
I'll go up to the warehouse and knock.
Yeah, you knock at the door, and the door does open slightly, and a gentleman wearing a bright white suit with a white tie, with slicked back blonde hair, and sort of looking out with some very large, weird-looking spectacles with multiple lenses in them, kind of pokes his head out. What can I do for you?
Oh,
I believe
Is
we're
everything
here, we're here to procure some tickets to an auction.
yes. Mickey sent us.
Are you Ted?
Yes, Ted. Come in, he says, and opens the door before he walks in. And you hear
I feel much
tick-
more comfortable having been invited. That's just, it's just
I have a question.
Yes.
GM? This is nothing related to me, but does Dr. Varuk recognize this man?
No, Farouk goes in.
Yeah, but I mean, they're all
Farouk, you
walking.
instantly recognize this gentleman.
It's him! Oh my god!
And
I hate him so much.
Motherfucker!
he has
Gotta
like
get
a
out of
long table in the middle that just has hundreds of pocket watches in that he seems to be working on, and all of them are ticking in unison. And he has big
I
clocks
don't
on the
know
wall as well.
anything. I've got to remember that.
We know
And
nothing.
He kind of invites you in. Oh, come in, come in. Don't touch anything. I'm working on a lot of things right now, but please come in. What would you
Yes.
like to
A
do?
lot of clocks.
Tickets to the auction, sir? Mr. Ted?
Right, yes. Missed it, yes. He kind of takes off his glasses and puts them on the side. Well, I do have a few things to do with that. So you're wanting some tickets to the auction. Very good. What auction?
For the Curios from the Museum of the Stolen Curios.
I don't know that museum. Stolen Curios Museum. I mean, I guess that's all museums, but still very particular. Very particular.
It's the one the Americans are working on, the one that you got them to?
Oh, yes. Yes. I know that one. Yes, you need invitations.
Yes, for 5 of us.
Of course you do, Peacock. Right. So, he says, and he,
Pardon?
kind of,
Did you?
and he turns around and walks over to the other side and goes, what drawer is it in? And starts looking through different drawers. Dr. Raccoon, could you please take the one on the left over there?
I would be more than happy to. And he again taking notes of this as he's talking, and I will go look for invitations.
And
Did-
Miss
Haven't you just called
Fairchild
him
has just
Mr.
moved
Ted?
next to Miss Griffiths and has a hand on her sword. Just like, don't like this at all.
Oh, no
What
swords.
did you just
No swords.
call him? What did you call him as? How did you refer to him? Mr.
Mr. Brute.
Ted? Oh,
Dr. Brute.
of course. Yeah, sorry.
What do you think
I
about doing that? His name?
Oh,
He says, and kind of,
nothing.
you go into the drawer and you do see there are hundreds of pictures of what seem to be drawn of a very familiar face, and it looks more displeased the more that you go through the pictures. And then at the bottom of that is a set of tickets, exactly the amount you need.
And whose face is it?
It is Mr. Grimoire's face.
I like you as a collection of angry faces.
It sort of gradually goes from like a normal face
Just like a flip
to
book.
just getting more annoyed.
Yeah,
as
like a
it's
flip book.
Yeah,
Like a flip book.
My book of
it is a flip
anger.
book that surely shows him going from normal to angry.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Oh my goodness.
You are such an interesting character. I could spend a lifetime if I had an extra lifetime.
We can see
I
that,
mean,
right?
I could maybe help with it.
Let's not. Let's not.
And the doctor begins to think.
Thank you. I always like meeting you. You're delightful.
Your acquaintances.
Yes, we're acquainted.
Oh, how wonderful.
I like the word acquaintances. It's quite a good word. So I think we are, Farouk, aren't we? We're acquaintances, aren't we?
Yes.
Acquaintance.
How
Very much so.
interesting.
Yes, of course, interesting. Not interesting at all, very boring, in fact. But yes, there's your invitations.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Tree.
In
And
one hand.
it's been delightful to meet all of you.
Yes.
Is there anything else you need whilst you're here? Scone?
Not
No.
at all.
Butter?
No,
No.
no. We're
No.
good, thank you.
Good butter?
I do have to know by time.
No.
Cornish pasty?
No.
Sausage roll, come on, nobody denies those.
No. No.
Ugh.
Oh,
No,
I do
no,
have fun.
no, no. Just
Getting off. We seem to have lost quite
God.
a lot of time. So, thank you very much,
Oh, we were
Mr.
playing outside for quite a while, shouting, "I'm a rabbit," and "I'm a peacock," and "Ooh, I'm a big raccoon. Look at me scoop the sugar in." Rather peculiar.
It
Yes,
just must
I'm
have
sure
been
it
I particularly
was.
like to Miss Fairchild. You were stood like a tree, but occasionally you'd grip your heart, and then you'd remember you're a tree, so you'd start to do this, and you become a tree again. It was rather
yes,
interesting.
I'm sure it was all terribly entertaining. Can we
It
go
was
now?
great.
Just
I've
looking at
drawn
everyone else so I
pictures
can
of
let
it.
us leave.
I'm already like blushing and trying to make my way out. It's like, oh goodness.
And as we're walking out, Dr. Varuk will say, "And what was the cat up to that whole time?"
Oh, that was rather delightful. So the cat was lounging on the bars and doing sort of flips and stuff, but then fell, and then would come back up, and then would continue, and then fall, and it just continued that way. Also, she was very peculiar. Her accent is brilliant, and she was saying, "Well, I am the cat," the entire time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Not at all. It was rather entertaining. I will cherish the pictures forever.
Until we meet again.
Until we meet again, Farouk. Hopefully soon. I do like you, acquaintance.
As soon as we're
doctor
outside,
totally
I'm just
loves
going to check
this
my
guy.
pockets for bacon.
You have bacon in your pockets.
Yeah, I will eat the bacon.
Pocket bacon.
Pocket
You eat
bacon. Oh no!
And you're given invitations to the auction.
Well,
To
this
the
has
underground,
been
you seem to have to travel into a part of the underground caverns, the ones that are located underneath Old London. There are some tunnels that lead there, though they are very cut off, but it seems to tell you where to go. Apparently you can go underground. It gives you a small map on the back of the invitation to make your way there. You can easily determine where it would be.
Looking at this map, it's nowhere near Irene's secret sheep lair, is it?
It is near that, yes. It's underground.
Oh
It's below
no.
Irene's sheep. There's some tunnels that go off from that then lead to the auction.
We go visit the gentle sheep.
Well, I have a way out if we need it, I guess.
All right. So after that painless exchange, we have.
It was easier than I thought it would be.
yes.
Do you
Yeah,
have
it was
time
only
for
at
me
the
to go
cost of our
check on my
dignity.
nephew? And
Yes,
Lord
absolutely.
Archie. Good.
Yes, Archie. Oh yes, he needs to bring me
Yes.
my new cavalry saber since my other one.
Does this mean we get to call for a cab? She looks excited.
Have you
Okay.
never called for a... Yes, ma'am. Yes, we get to call a cab.
I got to call for one once, and that was fun. It was very bumpy.
You just like hear very kind of sotto voce just, oh, for fuck's sake. Yes. Yes, Lady Berkeley, we get to call a cab.
Oh, that would be delightful.
I'm sure the cabbie will enjoy it also.
And you do that. You call a cab. The cabbie enjoys the entire route. And you do begin to make your way towards Upper London again. You're currently in Lower London, the Dock District, and you're making your way through. And it's as you reach the lifts and just as you reach Upper London in your cab that you see there's quite the heavy amount of Death Watch on the Upper London lift. And they do stop and ask for the people inside to identify themselves and open the door. And they do kind of look in, see yourself, Lady Berkeley, to the Magdalena Fairchild, and kind of go, "We apologize, miss. We have to do some routine checks due to the deaths the previous evening."
Most dreadful. Until
Yes, tragic.
Yes, that is fine. I have nothing on me.
was there no more
So-
reported injured or? I know the papers this morning.
4 of the people that were there have died, but it is not my duty
Oh.
to say. I will bring the investigator over. The detective just wishes to ask a few questions from all who are traveling from Lower to Upper London today. He's been very busy. He'll be right here, he says. And he walks off, and the Death Watch, you see him walk away in his full armor as usual. The dark helmet, dark armor, very...
Yeah, I give him a side eye as he walks away because sometimes
do.
they kill someone.
And soon
dead,
after,
so-
you see a gentleman walk up. He seems quite young and is probably...
Before
mid-
someone walks up, I would
Yeah.
say to Miss Griffiths and Lady Berkeley to maybe come up with a reason they're so grievously injured. Because I have my job to kind of cover things like that, but Just
Well,
you
why
know,
would we
kind of.
have to cover for this?
You
We
fell
were there.
downstairs. It's easy.
But,
Just in
but
case
why would we
questions
have
are
to
asked, it's
lie?
better to have an answer.
We're not
But I have an
exactly
answer.
we're not exactly conspicuous. People will know we're there.
And as you
Yes.
say that,
People
a
will
young
know
man
you were there.
by about mid-20s with sort of brown hair, mostly neat. He's got a hat on, but his hair seems to be a little messy, and he does look a bit tired. He's got some slight bags under his eyes where he's been no doubt working the case quite heavily, quite slim in a very nice green, sort of deep green suit with some pinstripes on it and a sort of brown waistcoat and white shirt. And he peeks in and tips his hat and goes, hello everybody. I have some questions for you.
Good
It's
evening,
Rob.
Inspector.
Of course, Detective.
Thank you, and good morning, Miss Griffiths. I've heard very good things about you. It won't take long, won't take much of your time. Name's
course.
Detective Arthur Murray. I'm in charge
Arthur
currently
Murray.
of the case of the Glassstone murders.
Yes, I saw your name on the papers.
Yes, they did ask for a quote, but you know how it is.
You sounded very
They didn't
heroic.
much dramatize what they say there. Drag them out of their houses and see to it that we bring them all to justice. That ain't going to happen. I'm not going to inconvenience you to that extent today, unless, of course, any of you are the ones that shattered the dome.
No. But why would we be?
Please.
Well, of course, I don't think you would be, but we have to do proper checks.
Of
We don't know
course.
who
So
did
what
it,
question
and
would you...
where were you last night?
I was at the fair, actually. She kind of looks at her fractured, like her cane, not cane, her crutch and her broken foot.
And he takes
I
out a
managed to
notepad and
escape.
starts writing. And how did you do that?
I remember... By running, good sir.
Running. Good answer.
Yes. She kind of looks at him like, why would you ask me how I escaped? By rolling?
And he takes the note and nods. Brilliant, brilliant. And where did you go afterwards? And who with?
And I went directly home with my friends
To the Berkeley
here.
estate.
We were all injured. If you can tell, Dr. Verkt had his arm sliced off by a piece of glass.
Right. And who was in attendance at your manor last night?
Not including the... Well, Miss Tilly went home last night after. I'm not sure if you heard, but she apprehended a criminal.
I did, I've read the report.
There, at the place. Yes, so in addition to Miss Magdalena, we had also Lord Archibald Barclay with
Archibald
us.
Barclay. Very well.
Yes. Briefly, I did host the young lord, what's his name again? I forgot his name already.
Marriott?
Bartholomew,
Something to do with Marriott's?
the boy
Yes.
that was killed from the Blue Cat murderer.
Yes,
Oh, of
but
course,
he
yes.
was sent home.
His carer came by to the Berkeley estate. I
Right.
believe it was 9:46 when she arrived. She stayed for a short while and then went home with the young lord.
Yes.
Brilliant. And what about yourself, Miss Magdalena?
Oh,
It is
I
rare to
was
see
at
you
fair.
outside of your own house painting, from what I heard.
I'm sorry, I broke up for a second. What do you say?
I said it is rare to see you outside of your own workshop or painting, as it is.
Yes, but the lights of the fair last night, I could not resist since, especially since Lord Archibald Barclay was going to be attending. So,
I see. And you are in a relationship with Lord Archibald.
yes.
Right, okay. He marks that down. Brilliant stuff. And who else was in attendance? There was, of course, yourself.
Oh, my
Magdalena.
servant, one of my servants.
One of
Cooper.
yourselves. Cooper. All right.
Mhm.
Yourself, Miss Griffith,
Yes,
went
my
out
son was there
afterwards.
too.
Miss Fairchild, where are you?
I remained at Lady Berkeley's estate
Right.
after the fair.
Horrible injury on the hand. How'd you get that?
I've had worse. And she kind of just turns her head and looks at him with a spookum eye.
Yeah, he kind of looks at it. He doesn't seem to flinch. He just kind of nods. I know, I've heard. But how did you come upon your injury?
Falling glass. I covered
Falling
my
glass.
head.
A smart move, Miss Fairchild, he says and marks it down. And yourself, Doctor?
So pieces of dome came down on me as I was trying to help Miss Griffith. Chase said, "Kitty cat killer."
Oh, I can tell. And is it true that you were all coming from the direction of the maze?
The direction of the maze?
The direction of the maze, the burning maze, the place where the shot rang out from?
Yes, I was in the maze when it happened. Dreadful
Where did the
business.
burning
I
shot
was
go?
lost.
I
then it
believe
caught
the shot
fire.
came
It
from
was-
ahead of us. I
Ahead of you?
assumed it was the
Yes.
killer.
Same as me. I
I
had
was
been
too
lost.
worried
Miss
about the
Fairchild
fire.
was trying to help me. Yes, I was rather worried too. I was afraid my skirt would catch fire.
Yes, I do
Well-
not like fire.
I don't think many people do like fire unless it's a nice one near Christmas and you're all cuddled up by it. But that's not quite what we
Oh,
had
by the
last night.
Yule logs.
With the Yule
Yes,
logs,
that was-
exactly. But well, that all seemed to check out with me. Did you see anybody else in there aside from the killer? Because the killer was not armed with a gun, only a knife. The report was very specific and very detailed about that.
There were so
Anyone
many
else?
people.
There was quite a few.
I got lost.
There was quite a few scarers in attendance. I know one of them unfortunately died. A pumpkin-headed fellow.
Oh, I remember him. Yes, we
I don't know
found the body in the morning.
Weaponry on
Oh,
them.
yeah.
I wouldn't assume so.
None that we had seen in those. They don't carry weapons around the nobles. It's spooks them, and they're only trying to spook them in good ways, in safe ways.
I don't personally carry any firearms. They're
Yes, I do not like
my cup
them.
of tea.
I don't believe.
Firearms are not my forte.
Of course not, Miss Fairchild. You're a mourner. Why would you do anything like that?
If you
I-
needed someone to search me, I could have one of the fairer sex search me, but
I do not wish to search you,
not.
Miss Delilah. There would be no need of frisking or anything of those sorts. That isn't the kind of work I'm doing here today, so don't you
Oh,
mind that.
okay.
I'm not going to go searching you. I was
As stated in my report, my gun is registered already, and
of course, the
you
bullet didn't
know-
match with that.
you have the bullet.
We do. Took a lot of searching. A lot of searching.
Can only
But we
imagine.
Like a
Imagine.
bullet in a glass stack.
Kind of
Sorry,
looks at you
it's,
and then smiles.
it's
No,
like
I understand. We do have it, he says, and he does show it. He holds up a plastic bag with the bullet inside. He's looking for one of his calibers currently, so yours doesn't match with that. It's an odd gun as well. German.
German.
Curious.
how strange.
Mm. He says his eye does sort of whip over to you for a moment for Ugly.
Well,
What
if
do
you
do
have
for Ugly? You own a gun.
sorry, I was going to say,
Well-
if you have any more questions, but please go ahead. But otherwise, we have, unfortunately, business to attend to.
That's brilliant. It'll take up no much more of your time.
Thank
Correct. If you could.
In the war, yes.
I know you had. You did serve, apparently for quite a long time. Didn't you die?
No, this identity did not die.
No, I know. He seems to be
okay.
twigging something else.
Oh, okay. And the doctor just looks confused.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Um,
That must be the wrong file, he says and smiles at you a little bit, but notices the sort of slight confusion in your eyes for a moment.
right, like, huh?
Interesting. You know, Mr. Lovell of the Lovell Society insisted something else, gave me some other names, some other things, some other events that had happened. We spoke with them yesterday after the event, of course. They were in attendance to help clean up.
Mhm.
But
And
seems to not check out.
good.
Mr.
And you, of course, have my address if you need any more information.
I'm sure we can find it in the file somewhere. I don't know it off the top of my head.
Ah.
But you've all been brilliant. Thank you very much. I've got everything I needed today. I hope you all have a lovely day, and I'm sorry for the interruption. He tips his hat to you and puts it back on.
Good luck,
That's-
detective.
Walks off.
Yes,
Thank
have
you,
a
Miss
good work.
Griffiths. We got to see who caused this horrible disaster that killed so many children, women, innocents.
I know.
Sooner we find them, the better. London needs justice, especially in times like this.
I couldn't agree
He
more.
tips his hat. Good day to you. And he turns around and walks off. And you'd rather get
Magdalena
some...
does her best to stifle any emotion. She has a lot of practice at this, but he's like, "Oh yeah, terrible tragedy. So many people died." She's just like
Would you give me an acting
on the
check?
inside. Oh, I don't have acting. I give etiquette.
Oh
An etiquette
no!
She thinks it's
Help.
funny. I can't help
Help.
it. She's only half human. 14.
14. Brilliant stuff. So let me just roll this then. Slash die. 2d10.
Oh my goodness.
I feel like we're not going to be convicted of murder but harboring a vampire.
Yeah. He'll remember that.
No, yeah.
He will remember it as I am raising down London with my father and taking over this country.
As he
Sounds
notices
alright.
you being slightly off as you leave. And the carriage gets on way. And you pass, and he does give you all the wave as you pass politely. And you make your way into Upper London.
I eat more
At this
bacon.
particular point, Miss Tilly,
Yes, Mr. Lila.
is it normal for investigators to ask such strange and obvious questions, such as,
Yes.
how did you get out?
No, it's called a leading question. It's something that they use to elicit an answer from you, an automatic one. You don't have time to lie. You'll just say, and you might reveal additional details while doing so, which can lead to further questions. He was rather good about it.
Oh, very interesting. I'm so glad to know you. You're so smart.
I'm just practiced, but thank you.
Humble too. She kind of gives a little giggle. So, it seems we've taken quite a bit of our day. So what is our plan?
I want to check on my son who's been left alone with the vampire.
And as soon as
Well, we will.
Damp here, half vampire. Thank you.
and you
It
do
really
so
means
that's what
very
you two
little to
are?
her.
And you do eventually arrive back, and you get yourself situated back in your manor. Your son is safe and sound. Archibald is gone for the day, and it seems that Teddy has been showing him around and playing.
Has
with
he
him.
sent over a saber?
You do see in the middle of the table is a care package with a saber, an old cavalry saber from England.
I will
you
fill
do
my pockets with more food.
a small bottle of something for you, which says Romanian vintage. And aside from that, you arrive back at home. It's getting late. Children are tired, and you're allowed to talk of your plan with your tickets in hand. So let's hear your plan. What do you all decide you want to do with this? Let's have this discussion before we end for today.
Tickets.
You do soon.
My
Uh,
chest knife back.
Oh,
Magdalena?
yes. Sorry, I was muted. Here you are. This is much better. It's much longer for stabbing.
Well, I think the
Miss
fair-
Fairchild would defer to Miss Griffiths and basically, like, she has experience. Let's listen to her. Realize I
Yes,
just
and then
interrupted
I'll
to
make
say
war
that, but there you go.
The first point of order is funding. Obviously, I don't think it would be a very wise idea to risk stealing these items, even though they are stolen themselves. The law is quite tricky about these things, and there will probably be very heavily armed guards in attendance. So we need funds. I was planning to go and see the Marriott household very soon to see if we can procure maybe a portion of such funds, as we all have worked together to ensure their safety.
Yes,
what
I
about
assume
Mr.
you're looking
Gilmore?
for modern English monies.
Yes, pence, shilling, pounds. Yes.
Yes, I
I
didn't-
would be rather wary. The aristocracy do not part with their funds very easily. Or with anything, in fact.
The deal I
I
made
have a
was not
question.
with Bartholomew, Mr. Lord Bartholomew Marriott himself. It was with his caretaker, who has agreed to terms with me before I managed to take on the case. I am wary, however. She is a good woman. I don't think she'll do me wrong. But thank you for your warning.
How much monies do we need?
Well, do you know how we found our writer?
Yes, he was in basement getting beat up. Or
Yeah.
back room, rather.
Well,
Oh, yes, I still have the key to his desk somewhere.
there's no
Should we
need.
go look at his desk?
No, I
I
managed
think it would be rather
to-
pointless now.
a safe place, and he has given me rather a lot of information on the mask. All that he has. From this, we can probably extrapolate, if he's not already put in his notes, the general cost of maybe what the selling price of this mask is. I forgot to tell you with all the other, I didn't have time to tell you with all the other drama going on. But Mr. Clyde is, he's safe, in safe hands. So,
I did not ask about him. I just asked about his stuff. But that I am glad he is safe.
Well, he is
In
the
terms
proprietor of all the knowledge about, the mask, so it's quite important that he's safe as well.
Unless he wrote it all down.
In terms of money, I could spare some from our shared allowance. Not too much, of course. It has to be reasonable. I do not know when I'll be getting Ned back, and frankly, he is the breadwinner in this house.
How, from the notes I got from Clyde, how much do I estimate the mask to be selling for?
So the starting bid is £200.
All right. Well, the starting bid will be around 200, and it will only explode from there.
Good God.
I assume Mr. Grimoire could at least offer us compensation. Should we be spending money?
No, I don't think
I'd
that would
rather not take more from Mr. Grimoire than we already have.
It is technically expenses under his employ.
Technicalities breed debts.
The contract didn't specify such things. We're covered for medical care, so that's good. You can claim recompensation for all the medical care you gave us. However, there is no such thing as expenses on the job. I looked through that contract quite thoroughly.
And besides, debt is a fallacy. So you take out the loan, you have the money, you die. They can't get that from your dead corpse.
Oh, well,
that
let's
comes in
hear
many
that.
forms, Dr. Verrucht. What? Oh, I was very confused for a moment.
That was
Yes,
not the
not
case
everyone
for me.
dies.
Welcome, Raiders.
Regardless, if we can all put some money towards this, I will go and procure what I can. And Mr. Weiler, you be careful with what you can. And if anyone else can put money towards this, I'm sure we can claim recompensation from the museum owner.
I do dread to imagine the look on that poor man's face should we spend a small fortune getting his items back.
I could ask Archie if we do not have enough for a little bit of money. He knows
And
how
he does
money
dote on you,
works.
doesn't he?
Well, yes, he should.
You are lovely, Magdalena.
I am literally royalty.
Oh, good Lord.
I'm very glad you're now completely honest with us.
Honesty is the best policy I've found.
You? Out of character, you?
Straight face!
If we're all in agreement then, we can probably go and procure some money. As for getting in, we have tickets. I don't know whether they'll allow weapons. Probably not. So.
Sorry, I just got this image of Magdalena walking into a bank and just saying, "Give me all your monies," and then just like mind persuading them, and they just
The eyes, the vampiric gaze, just like.
It could work if you're fed enough, maybe.
I'm sorry, just had that thought. I had to
That
share.
is a good idea.
Yes.
She hasn't told anybody about that ability yet because she wants to.
I mean, we saw it,
Well,
though.
we saw you do it!
You saw.
Twice.
You
You
were
boobied
respecting my
Cooper.
orders.
And then we saw you telling my chef, "You're gonna remember none of this." And
He's a very obedient human.
Yeah. Oh, bless her. I love her so much.
I could go
And
with you
as
to
you're
persuade
considering-
little Lord Miss Griffiths if you like.
And it's as you're considering that and as you're thinking about that you hear a crash come from upstairs from somewhere, followed by what sounds like a couple of gunshots.
Immediately run because my son is in this house.
Oh no!
Throw my gun and run upstairs.
Like
I
I am
grab my
running and there's a
cavalry
sword
saber.
out.
So all of you run
Oh,
up
my
with your
Excalibur.
swords, with your guns, with your weapons as you make your way. Baroque, just or sad.
Was
Um,
Cooper
right.
downstairs?
Cooper was asleep.
Okay, so he's not in the gunshot area. That's fine. That's all I was checking.
I run upstairs, but I don't draw a weapon until I need to.
No problem. And it's
I'm
as
just
you
looking
get
for
up
Havelock.
that you run up, and you do find Havelock, and you do also find Teddy. They were in the same room at the time, just outside one of the suites. And you do see Mickey stood, sort of gun in hand, barrel smoking, sort of stood in the same room as them. And as you sort of round around, you see he looks a bit injured. He seems to have been stabbed. There's blood on his shirt that he's wearing. And you also see that there's a window that has been smashed.
I put myself between him and the children.
He seems to be very bothered. He seems to be leaning out the window at the time and looking outside.
Yeah, I want to look out the window too. Oh, is there any of his blood on the floor or anything? Any, can I just get a little?
There's quite a bit of Mickey's on the floor, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. A little taste.
You have a taste. You get a sense of him. His mental state seems to be very stressed.
Good.
I'll keep my gun trained on him.
That's fine. He doesn't seem to notice it.
Yeah, I'm in a defensive position in front of the kids, and the Exculpus is pointed at Mickey.
Yeah. He kind of turns, still kind of blood soaking his sort of shirt as he looks. You all pointing guns and swords at him, and he just kind of.
I'm just looking very confused.
Amy,
What
if that's
happened,
what
Mickey?
I heard
What happened?
I heard a crashing coming from the other room, some scraping. I came to check out what it was. Thought it might be something. Maybe the kids just playing, but I came in. They were across the room, dagger out. Strange.
Cool.
I don't know. Their face looked weird. Like it
Weird how?
wasn't there. Just
Did
skin.
you injure him?
I think I missed.
I'm gonna
Try.
go over to the
Quick.
broken window and see if there's any blood on the glass.
Hey, give me a forensic science check, please.
I don't have forensic science.
Give me a 2d20. Sorry, 2d10 check.
I can't just, observe.
When I,
Yeah,
go,
that is
My
what you
eyeballs.
when I go over,
can. But this is
I-
forensic science.
Ugh.
And yes, you can also have it. You see no blood.
I'm going to just look over my shoulder and Havelock.
Havelock
Sir,
seems to
are
sort
you
of be
all right?
Teddy, sort of holding Teddy, the smaller boy, protectively.
Are you both
And he
unhurt?
Yeah, we're unhurt.
Is
Just
what
woke
he
up,
says true?
saw somebody jump out of the window.
Did this man attempt to hurt you in any way?
I don't know. He was walking over. He had a knife. Then I heard the gunshots and he was gone.
What kind of knife?
Curved. Like a bit of a C to it.
Magdalena's
Do you
gonna
remember-
sketch out the outline of the missing dagger.
And the
show it to
idea
like
that
this.
without a face part is what's kind of roaring through my head right now. You said he didn't have a face, Mickey? Mickey, you gotta go sit down. The blood. Oh my goodness.
Nice.
Sit, please.
It's all right. I got
Yes,
this.
there is a lot of
Just,
blood in here.
just a light wound, he says. He just
Yeah. The
crashes to
doctor's
the.
trying to get him to the bed and take care of it this whole time. So
Yeah, that's fine. So you kind of
Yeah.
like.
I'm trying to ignore his blood as much as possible and
Miss Fairchild
look
doesn't
for
care about
other
Mickey.
people's blood.
Mickey said no face. Doesn't that match the description of a certain mask?
Maybe.
I might try and use my
Yay.
perspective on that roll because I'm not happy with a 12.
Sure.
And didn't you? Didn't
Use
you?
your
The
master
rest of
detective,
say
you get a
were
reroll.
warned?
16, that's a bit better.
16 is much better. You do. There is much of it doesn't seem to have caught anything, but there is one bit of glass that has a slight tinge of red around the edge of it. It's very minor, very small.
Miss Magdalena,
Yes.
I have noticed you have an interest in lifeblood.
No.
And she with she, breaks off that piece of glass and hands it.
I'm
to you.
very scientific. I'll just.
Yes, I know.
And Magdalena, you turn and you lick the shard of glass, and you get a taste of that blood. And as you do,
Uh-oh. Yeah.
you see Magdalena's eyes roll back, and she starts fitting on the ground.
Oh, no.
And as she begins to have a fit, Magdalena, can you make me a very quick willpower check, please? With no concentration.
I don't think I get to concentrate. Thankfully, I have a decent will. Decent, not
I'm
great.
just moving the children back.
Yeah, they're looking worried.
17?
Yeah, I've already scooped up my baby. I'm like shushing him, holding
Yeah.
him close.
Oh.
She continues to fit on the floor, but you don't see anything else happening for a moment. She seems to be having a seizure of some sort.
Doctor?
Is it Tilly?
The world's slowest seizure.
I will be with you in a moment. And as is Mickey not bleeding out? Maybe I got it compressed. Is he stable or not?
You've stabilized him. It's easy enough to do with this sort of a wound. It doesn't seem to have hit anything important, but it just seems to be, a nasty stab.
Right.
And indeed, it does seem to have a curve to the wound.
Right.
But he is out cold right now. And
No.
Magdalena, as you are seizuring on the floor, and as Varuk, you see Mickey sort of, you've compressed the thing. It seems fine, but he's completely just out. That is where we'll leave this session. So next week we'll come back to this, and we'll see where it goes.
Goodness.
Until then, how about we go around and you tell us who you are, where we can find you, and what your favorite moment of the session was. So we'll start straight off on this side with Delilah.
I'm gonna start hoping I get moved to Dr. Varuk's place so I can have some time to process the session first. Just move me, please. Someone take my place.
I'll go down. So we'll go to the depths of hell. Varuk.
All right.
Hey, that
I was gonna
works.
say, the thing about being last is all the good stuff's taken. All
Okay,
right.
well, this is your moment, Varuk. We're proud of you.
Your moment to shine, Doc.
We value you.
I'm Graybeard at Graybeard's Tavern. Check my Twitter. You can find all my schedule because I do a lot of gaming. And I would say that favorite moment was probably the total drug trip. And then it just the drug trip itself was all kinds of crazy fun because the doctor, again, is that turn of the century doctor, so I'm sure he's experimented with LSD and cocaine and heroin and everything else that he could have found on his travels around the world. And then the fact that the Tim, Ted, the clock watchman, was definitely aware of it, made it even that much better. So that's my favorite bit for this evening.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And thank you so much for playing as usual, Varuk. It was a pleasure. And speaking of a pleasure, Tilly Griffiths.
Hello. So I'm Humbled06. I've been playing Tilly Griffiths. Favorite moment? God damn it. You had to go on the damn here about the goddamn being 449 years old and the dad's Dracula. And I was just like, oh, it's so bad, but it's so good. Lindy, reactions were amazing. Lark Gloria, you being the cat that got the cream, just amazing. Fairchild being bacon's more important. Perfect. Same shit, different day. Just I love it. I love this group so much. It was great. So yeah, that was me.
Brilliant. And off to somebody else who's brilliant, Miss Fairchild.
So many great moments. Oh my goodness. I loved Delilah's tea sipping, just and of course he's your father. I mean, it's basically the Kermit gif. I loved it. Anyway, I am Shakespeare. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Shakespeare. I am in a bunch of other games that you can find on my Twitter. I also knit things and my commissions are open. So feel free to check that out. My favorite moment has to be, because I'm selfish and I love good RP, is just Tilly being so wonderfully magnanimous with everyone and just basically offering Miss Fairchild literally the only thing she wants in the world that isn't food. And just she's never told anyone that, so it's kind of like it was a big moment, and I really enjoyed getting to inhabit it. So thank you. But I just love this game. I love all of the NPCs, and oh my god, that acid trip! I was like, oh god, I'm a tree. I can't talk, and I need to talk. I'm a tree. I couldn't even faint. It was so magic, and oh god, I hate not knowing things that I know. There's a lot of silent screaming happening. It was absolutely amazing. I love this game. I can't wait for next week.
I'm super happy for that. And speaking of not waiting till next week, Magdalena.
Oh man,
That's out of the bag.
I had two rerolls still, but I didn't want to roll worse than that 17. So I was like, oh man. But yeah, that was super fun. Everybody, the big secret's out, I guess. She was not very good at keeping it. This is the first time she's had to hide it, though. So, for that being the first time in like 400 years that she's had to keep it on the DL, I'd say she did pretty good. My favorite part, oh my gosh, so many. Delilah being really smug about everything. The doctor being like, I sense like research and business potential here. Like that's just the list. That was great. Just everything. This group's so great. I wish I could say that was the weirdest wild magic surge I've ever experienced on this channel, but it was, maybe like a maybe top 5. And I cannot wait. What I'm looking forward to next week, if I don't just seize the whole time, is now that it's out though, she can truly be herself, which may or may not be a spoiled Wallachian princess with major daddy issues. So that's a whole new can of worms for y'all to deal with. I can't wait. You can find me online at LaughfulOfLindy on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, etc., where I plan and GM a lot of tabletop RPGs. If you like kind of more spooky horror stuff, I DM Mists of Ravenloft every Tuesday on my channel, and we have, I need to announce this because we didn't have dates nailed down, but this Saturday morning, 10 a.m. to noon Eastern, Teenagers from Outer Space. It is a first date episode, so you don't want to miss it. It's going to be phenomenal. And also, our once monthly Aliens tabletop RPG is going to be next Thursday evening, the 21st. And I believe time zone conversions, like 9 Eastern, I want to say. So keep your eyes out for that because it's going to be good.
Definitely. And speaking of daddy issues, Delilah.
Hey, we have something in common, Magdalena. So, my daddy died.
My daddy's been dead for years.
Yes, undead. But yeah, so about the daddy issues thing. My favorite part, like there's like, now I know how you feel, Dr. Verrucht. I now know how you feel, Greybeard. I'm like, oh my god, everyone said the highlights. Okay, so I think one of my favorite thing is remember when Archibald was talking to Magdalena and she was like, oh goodness, I may or may not be the princess. He's like, let me sip some wine. I got you figured out, girl. And then she was like, I hear people outside. Meanwhile, I'm there giggling to myself because I already knew what I planned for this session. I knew that I had to talk to Magdalena. So I was like, out of the frying pan into the fire, girl. I got you pinned down. And just her look of relief as she was going, and I was just like, yes, I can escape this conversation. I was like, and another thing that I thought was really hilarious is probably when Tilly turned into a rabbit the first time. She's like, oh dear, and then started lisping because she had giant teeth. And I was like, it made me laugh. It was good. Yeah, so those were the highlights that have not been, said. Yes, I got something. As for me, who I am, other than being Delilah Berkeley, I am Lark Gloria. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram, except Lark Gloria is Twitter, Gloria Lark is Instagram. And more importantly, you'll be finding me this Saturday, yee-hawing real hard, destroying the Texan accent, not in a good way, with an actual Texan, oh god. Playing Wanted Death or Alive on Hollow's channel. Aha, mirroring. We played this.
It's been brilliant to have you as always. Brilliant to have all of you. And of course, all of you watching right now, thank you. You're all amazing. And aside from that, you will find me of course, here every Thursday currently. We have our penultimate episode next Thursday, followed by our finale the week after that on Thursday, same time as always here. But aside from that, you can also find me on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/hollowtail, where you can see different system recommendation videos and breakdowns. There are lore videos. There's me talking about a Naruto RPG I ran for years. There's a lot more stuff coming as well, so expect more videos on that, including a very special series coming very soon, which if you do want to see coming out, it is an audio drama RPG show, shorter kind of scenarios, about 25 minutes to 30. It's very exciting. We've got some amazing players for that. So I definitely keep an eye on my Twitter for that, at @hollowtail, just like you can see down below. Follow me, come and have a look, get excited for it. I can't wait to share it with everybody. And this Saturday, we are indeed playing our Deadlands game, a Savage Worlds Adventure Edition game even, which is Wanted, Dead or Alive, which should be very fun. And that's on my channel on Twitch. That's twitch.com/TV/hollowtail. And that will be at 12 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. UK. And we're coming back with our season 2 and a new DM. It's not me DMing this time. I get to play. So I'll also be butchering the Texan accent. So I will see you all there. But until then, you've all been amazing. And thank you so much for sticking by with us. And we'll see you next week for a very nice auction. Goodbye for now.